I actually
So
appreciate that answer, Nelson, though. Thank you, because I am looking into your other courses. So now I feel like, wow, I can do it. So thank you so much.
yes, you can, because people come through. Actually, there have been several non-trainers like Karen, actually, who've come through, course 1, 2, 3, 4, and others, the leash handling and, whatever else, nose work, things like that aren't trainers. And it's, to me, if something isn't fascinating, it's not worth pursuing anyway. If it's not difficult, it's not worth pursuing. I don't like easy things. Sorry. It's why I play classical guitar and jazz, because it's difficult. I could have been a rock star playing 3-chord progressions my whole life, because I had a rock band and we were on tour. We went with the Guess Who. We did all sorts of things. And I just said, I'm not interested in this because it's too easy.
Nelson, do you plan to do more online courses?
Yes, I have a couple of ideas of transferring some of the problem is the ones that, and I wasn't sure if this would work, honestly, if this class would work until I did it last year this time. And then I was really happy with it because of it's your efforts that you put in to video those exercises through this class that make the difference. Because now we can go in fine detail, which you will see today, what we're going to do. But some of the advanced courses that actually there's some videoing that we are going to do over this next year that is for the advanced courses, that's about actually how to train dogs. Because I recognized last year all the people that have come up through the system, past 5-6 years up through even course 6. I've never taught them how I teach: sit, stay, down, place, come, out, all those other things. As a system, it's very effective. People see me do things and my dogs just do them with me. And they're asking now, well, this is what we do. This is how we do it. Okay, well, why don't you change this? So I guess I really left unconsciously, I left it up to them to modify what they were doing to match what they saw what I did by observation. And there's a gap there. So I am going to be videoing those things to teach people how to do sit, stay, down, place, come, all those things that trainers think is the whole thing, when it's actually that much of this whole thing. Because this is the beginning of what you see as a different concept altogether. That's what this is. This is a completely different concept. This is knowing the dog from the inside, literally the neurobiology and neuroplasticity of the brain, because that's what you're working with. You're working with the brain. You're not working with 4 legs, a nose, and a body. That's not what you're working with. That's the evolutionary aspect of that. But the brain, from our brain to that brain, I have to know what's inside that brain as much as I possibly can to affect it better. That's where this whole system comes from, okay? It's not the outward stuff that everybody sees in videos and says, look how great I am making this dog do this. I don't want to make a dog do anything. I want the dog to do it on its own accord because it's the right thing to do, and we've shown how to do that.
So Nelson, I'm just going to add one little thing you can add in there. So I was trained on an e-collar. So you know how you're going to transition people over from an e-collar. I'm not asking you to do this now. I'm saying put that in that component there, because that would certainly.
I don't have to. Once they understand the dog, once they start seeing the effects that things happen with how they know how to work with a dog, they find they don't need those tools that much anymore. There are times when clients actually want them to teach on a remote collar because of a remote situation. They're still capable of doing that, but even in a more effective way. See, that the thing with an e-collar is what I see, and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody. Please don't, I'm not holding myself on some pedestal either. What I find is probably 80, maybe even more, 80% of certainly humans, but trainers overuse and misuse the e-collar. Why? One, because of their timing. They don't understand what's going on in the dog's brain. And so if it's mistimed, then they amp it up. So it's their failure, not the dog's. And so once you teach what's actually going on in the brain, how dogs think and what it means to them, not from a human standpoint, they find they really don't need it or as nearly as much. So it's self-correcting. Okay. So I'm not here to teach one way. As a matter of fact, I recommend for all my advanced students, go see this guy, go learn from this guy, you know, from these guys, you know, all guys are men and women to me. So, okay. You know, and there are a few out there that in their field and their expertise, they're the best. And that's who I want you guys to study with. It's not about me. Don't go see anybody else. I'm the only one with the answers. That's BS. That's total BS. And if anybody says that to you, their ego is way overflated. All right. So I learned a long time ago that, so in the martial arts system that I ended up with, and I ended up there in 1976 after starting in 1970. I went through what was taught in World War II to commandos as jiu-jitsu, because that was my father. And so he introduced me after I was a Golden Gloves boxer. He introduced me to martial arts. I didn't know he knew any of it. And he used me as an example with a neighbor. And my eyes were about this big when I got up off the ground and unpretzeled myself. And I thought I was a big, you know, tough guy. I was wrestling, I was playing football, and I was a boxer. And I thought I was a, you know, big, tough 16-year-old. And I found out otherwise. So I got a lot of respect for that. And he taught me for a few years. And then I went to Kyokushinkai, which is a very hard style karate. You know, you break baseball bats with your shins and stuff like that, literally. And then I found the system that I've been in ever since, Taiho Jitsu, which is Japanese police force system. It is basically the samurai developed it. It is the samurai, it's modern day samurai. And it made the most sense to me of all of those things. And my sensei, who's obviously become a lifelong friend and a cohort where there's 6 of us that are the hide on board. He was always teaching us that, sure, go learn with this guy, go learn with that guy, go study him, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, it wasn't an ego feed thing of it's just us and let's preserve just this. It's go out and learn all this stuff. Well, you go out and you see these things and you go, you know, we already do this with everything else anyway. There's no need to go out and study other things once you get past your green belt learning stage, I'll put it that way. There's a time period that when you start learning something for several years, you think that's it. And then you start learning, there's a lot of other stuff out there. And so you go searching and then you come back and you go, well, you know, that really doesn't make sense in terms of all of this other stuff. So you start analyzing, and then you realize when you're in something that's really good and relies on fact, knowledge, and skill, that you can study all of that in one thing. So it's a difference of mentality. It's, you know, it's like doing a knife hand block. Well, okay, so there's a number of systems that do knife hand blocks, but where is it placed in relationship to the rest of your body and your face and all of that? They don't look at that. Matter of fact, everyone that I see is below their head level. So they didn't even block anything. So it's a useless tool, basically, because they don't know how to use it. Gichin Funakoshi, he was the father of modern karate back in Japan. Actually, he was an Okinawan that went to Japan in 1905 and taught karate, and that's what Shotokan came from. And so that was the first Japanese karate system, which was actually Okinawan. But they wouldn't admit it because, you know, those were like West Virginians to them, or Arkansas people, you know. And so at, you know, 85, 89 years old, someone asked him why he kept practicing knife hand block so much. And he said, because I think I'm finally beginning to understand it. That's where you want to go with things, guys. Study, study, study. Okay. It's in the fine details. It's in the fine timing. So tools, all of that stuff self-corrects if you actually understand things and you study this and other things with that. Okay. You know, I've recommended to a lot of my students, if you ever get the chance, go study with Marina Ozuna. Okay. And the reason is because she's the best that I know in the world at understanding the movement of the body, the joints, all of that stuff. I have my own expertise in it. It is different than hers, and it's for a different reason. It's interesting how we do some similar things, but I don't have time in my classes teaching about the brain and how to reach that to do all of those things that she does. That's what she focuses on. She's the best. Go study from her. Okay. So why do I want to waste my time doing that? This isn't about an ego feed, guys. Okay. This is about transferring knowledge. At my age, all I want to do is transfer knowledge. That's it. That's my role. That's my mission at this point in my life. Okay. And unless you know my age, you probably wouldn't guess how old I am. Kelsey, how old do you think I am?
I'm gonna get in trouble with this question.
Okay.
You're 22.
Yeah. No, seriously. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess you're in your mid to late 40s.
Well, add 20 years onto that and you've got it. I'm 68.
Wow.
Yes. So at this point in my life, after doing things for, 50 years or more, almost 50 professionally with a lot of things, my role is to pass on knowledge. That's what my role is. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I created the Institute. That's why I created these courses. Okay. So enough about all that BS. Okay. Let's see. So what I wanted to do was, I'm going to share screen here. And we're going to go to the presentation first. And that's this exercise, the direction static, where you simply stand there, you look, and you orient yourself the direction you would like the dog to focus on and motion toward. As soon as the dog joins you, instantly you move forward. Okay. you're teaching the dog, if my interest is here, we're not moving, I'm not interested in all that stuff that you're checking out. I want to go this way. The dog does that and goes, oh, okay, that's what you want. And very quickly, guess what happens? The dog starts paying attention to you. And it didn't take force. It didn't take anything. It took their language. It took their brain to pick up on it. They're very intelligent. And as soon as you do that and you repeat it 3 or 4 times, they go, oh, you finally get it, you idiot monkey. The key to this, though, is if you start doing these things and signaling the way they do with their body and their intent and mean it, when you are unaware of what you're signaling and the dog's confused, that becomes a problem. So you must be aware when you are signaling and how you're signaling, guys. So once you get it and the dogs see that you finally get it, that you're not a total idiot primate, then you have to be clear with your communications and recognize when the dogs are looking to you to unconfuse them about what you're trying to signal to them. Because a lot of times you're just in your own head doing things and you don't realize the dogs are keying on you going, okay, something's going on, but I don't understand it. So you have to start picking things up. So the first one is the static exercise. The next one is positional experimentation, okay? And then actually using that step, right? That first step of intent and getting the dog's attention. Now, you probably noticed you're not going to get your dog's attention when you're out of its peripheral vision. It has to be able to see you. Don't know if I explained in this group or not. Did I explain peripheral vision to you and the angles of that? Okay, I'm glad I did. Could not remember. But dogs see back behind zenith here 120 degrees. So even if you're at 90 degrees, they may still be focused on you. They're just not looking at you directly because they don't use their eyes in quite the same way that we do. They're looking for profile, silhouette, movement, right? We're looking at detail to try to identify, because that's our main sense. Their main sense is the nose. Their eyes are a backup. And so when you're off to the side and they're looking over here and you move, they're on you if you're relevant. If you're not relevant, they're not going to pay attention to you. And so these exercises start giving you the ability to be relevant to your dogs without any force whatsoever. Simply, we're not moving anywhere until you move my direction. Okay. Does this help? Yes. Okay. I hope so. And then we get hands only, and we'll see all of these things. Okay, so I'm going to stop share here, and we're going to go to, so before we get into it, any questions, comments on these exercises from anyone? Throw it out there.
The only thing I want to say is after I did it, and then I watched some of your other videos from other people, I tried it with both my dogs and I did it right. Cause I don't remember who said it, like Nelson's going to yell at me for looking at my dog. And I did it the whole time. And I did it with both dogs where they were pulling to smell over here. And I just focused there and they both came around. And then the rest of my walk, they were both pretty much 4 feet behind me the whole time. And I just kept working it. And I was so impressed by what that did, that little thing.
Yeah, it doesn't take monkey chatter. It doesn't take all of your, look at me. It's not marketing. It isn't about marketing. It's about meaning it. It's all about intent. If you come away from this class with nothing else but your intent matters and understand what that means, you will have gained so much. Okay. You'll have jumped 5-10 years in your understanding things.
So on that note, Nelson, I actually wrote down I did these each one day, and I still need some help on the hand one, because I know in that one, my body is still bent over. But what I realized on the first two, if I square my shoulders, I automatically, if my shoulders are squared, I know where I'm going, and I have that sense of, conviction in my body. So doing, going back and doing exercises 1 and 2 were very easy. For me, the hand, I know my body. The first time it was a standoff for a good, I didn't bother submitting that one. I tried it again, and he followed, but I feel I'm coaxing too much. And so that's where I couldn't get that intent in.
Okay. So I will tell you that the hand is the most difficult exercise by itself. And it's deliberately chopped up to these pieces so that you see what the aspects are, what the influences are each way. Okay. The hand is like us speaking. It's 7%. It's the detail. That's really what it is. It is the fine print. If my intent is I turn this way and I take a step and the dog starts moving, and I do the hand then with all of that, which you guys are going to do next. The hand gives us the exact direction that I want to go with us. Okay. So the hand is deliberately the most difficult, and especially to not move at all and just use the hand, and the dog get it. Some dogs get it already, others don't. But you have to think about it in terms of, once again, the detail of it, of how close you get to your dog to influence it. Remember, proximity has meaning. So if my hand is out here and my dog's ignoring it, it's because I'm just swatting at flies, right? But if the hand comes in here to the eyes and goes away, that becomes, here, I'll take my hat off. Okay, if my hand comes in here and I move away, I want you guys to do that right now. Go within about 2 inches of your eyes and go away. Look at your hand and go away from it. What does it make you want to do?
Follow it.
Follow it. Why?
Because there's a reflex, isn't there? There's a reflex, a visual reflex for us.
But why? Think about your brain.
It's a focus, like an intention.
Because we're predators. We want to go get the prey. We need to be paying attention to where it's going.
Bingo. It's your predatory part of the mind, and these guys are pure predator. So anything going away means prey. Your brain is automatically following it. So the closer you get your hand to the eyes and then forward, now it makes sense to the dog because you're already triggering that predatory part of the brain.
Does that basically explain why pointing is so effective with dogs?
Yes, it's the motion. It has nothing to do with pointing. If you just stick your finger out there, the dog's going to go up and sniff it.
Right.
It means nothing. It's the motion. It's the movement. That's why I use a hand like a military signal, this, okay? Because it's the full amount that I can get in size to affect the brain and then move away from. Okay, and the movement away or forward, or frankly, toward. If I do this to you, what are you going to do? You do it to yourself right now. Come at your face, move into your face. It makes you want to go like this, right? So that's a stop. I'm telling you how I teach dogs. Stop. Okay. What about doing this? Coming to you, do this, and then you tell me what it makes you want to do. And up.
Look up, follow it.
Look up. Okay, so what happens when a dog looks up? And if it keeps looking up, what happens? It does this. It sits to look up. That's a sit signal. Okay. Study nature so that you're not working against it. You're working with it. It makes it so easy. You don't have to do all these other stupid idiot human gyrations. Okay. See it from the dog standpoint. That's what this whole system is about, guys. Okay. Okay.
My challenge was with my Energizer bunny that when do I start to pick up on her, like when, because she, I mean, it's her pattern that she's just circling constantly, more or less. So for me, it was like, and I would love then to have your input, when is the correct time to move with her, even though she is not with me in her state of mind of what I perceive, not being with me, you know, because she's in her. So that was my challenge with my.
Okay. So I'd say about 20 to 30% of dogs are like that, where they're not with the human to begin with because they don't trust them, they don't understand them. You know, we're just weird things. You know, we are the, 20-foot tall, 7-tentacled, green and purple polka dotted thing that just, is there forcing us to do stuff. That's all we are to them. And so the timing on that is when a dog isn't paying attention to you, but comes this way, you take that step, you're teaching them. And then they begin to see remember, once is just happenstance. Twice, now you're comparing A and B, it could have been a mistake. Third time becomes a pattern. That's the way our brains work, that's the way their brains work. It starts becoming a pattern. And so after that third time of you moving forward, you will notice that pause, that look like, are we going that way? Yes. And then that's the reinforcement. Okay. So there's experimentation, there's understanding patterning, and then there's the reinforcement of it. And then you get agreement. Okay. Doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. Doesn't mean they're not going to have their own thoughts in their own mind. How much do you want another human to occupy your mind all the time? Somebody that just comes up and only wants to talk about what they want to talk about in that moment, and just they won't let you have a word in or change the subject, or they just want to, hold you in their minds. You don't want to do that, do you? And yet that's what humans expect of dogs. Sorry, but they have their own thoughts. Okay. So I'd rather have a partner to come with me, agree, and want to do it, not because they're forced to, not because of compulsion. Okay. Sometimes it's necessary to reinforce things, to say, no, I really mean it this time, but it takes no force. Okay. And I'm not a quote unquote force-free or purely positive or any of that BS. I am who I am. I am what works. That's what I do. And I'm self-correcting all the time too, because I'm an idiot. Like you guys, I make mistakes. So no one's perfect. Trust me. Okay.
One thing I wanted to, can I say something?
Go ahead, Kelly. Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
When I first did the RBBM, I had my own dog, and I was like, I found these, I use the method now, but I haven't broken them up into the 3 things since. So the first time, like, he just, anytime I turned, he was just with me all the time. And this time I did it with a dog. It was the first day I was with the dog. So I thought it was really interesting how much slower it was, how it took a long time of me just sitting and waiting. And then also I just did my first 3 videos and I didn't do it again. So like in I think my second video, or maybe it was my third video, I laughed. So I think it's a good example of what not to do. It's like, because she just immediately jumped up. But, I'm just a very loud person. My biggest challenge with this method is being quiet. And, but I had a question too. Do you want me to get into questions already, or?
That's fine. That's what I asked, is if you had any comments or questions.
So with a dog, because I've done this with pitties that have been so ball focused, and their owners do ball work with them all the time, that when I go to do the signal and I do it really slow, no matter what, they start to go after it like prey and start jumping and everything. Would you just continue working with it over and over again, or would you pause and wait till you build a more of a relationship to do that?
So good question. It depends on the dog, depends on the situation. Because some dogs will get it within 1 or 2 times, and other dogs won't. And so it requires some other stuff. I would probably, and this is a class that I would love to teach, is a long line, what a long line is actually used for and how it's used, which I'm not seeing out there anymore. Nobody understands it. It is an incredible tool, and that it is a tool. Long line is a tool to allow the dog more freedom and allow you more connection. I know that sounds like a dichotomy, but I want the dog to be able to make its own decisions and choose to come with me. And so that's what you use a long line for, frankly, to see who that dog is, because outside of your influence, remember, up to that touch and physical influence, well, that short leash, even 6 foot, that's still within that reactionary gap. The dog knows it, you know it, and you feel it. That's why we only have 5-6 foot lines, is because you're within that reactionary gap, and the dog is so heavily influenced by the human, poorly or well, depending on the human, that you're not getting the dog. And so a long line allows that dog, 20, 30 feet, whatever, away from you to be a dog and show you who it actually is and whether or not you have any connection with the dog, and then how to develop that connection. That's what a long line is really for. Okay. And so I didn't have to use it much with most dogs, but the ones that I did were the ones that were usually the ones that were very disconnected with humans. And so sometimes the dogs that are connected with humans only in one aspect, in other words, ball play. That's the only, and the human represents excitement. That's what they want to do. That's their best thing with their owner, with whoever else, is that's what engages them the most. So they enjoy doing that. And that's all they want to do with the owner. That's what you're telling me is happening with some of those dogs, is even a slight motion triggers that, oh boy, we're playing. And that's not what your intent is. So that's where I would use a long line, get them away and give them a motion that direction. And then I start moving and they go, oh, there's no ball, there's no play, but they had distance and time and thought process to process it. Make sense? Okay. So with the dogs that are less connected with the human, other than that play aspect, that's all they want to do, that predator prey aspect. And that's why I don't use the ball with those types of dogs, frankly, to begin with, until we have a better relationship, because that is their relationship. And so once we start doing that, then I can shorten the distance, and they realize my hand going that way is a signal, not a play. Others, it could be, okay, I signal, they start getting all antsy and jumping up and down. My face goes deadpan. You've seen it. I do that. Okay, no emotion, no nothing. Boom, I'm just going, and I ignore the dog, and they simply have to come with me. Okay, and those are the easier ones, and you've got to figure out real quick. If you do that twice and the dog doesn't lower its level of excitement and play, then you're probably going to shift to a long line. Okay. What you're looking for is that much increment. If they understand, if they have hesitation or doubt about, okay, he's done this twice, let's see what happens the third time. If the dog is lessening its excitement and all that stuff, I'll just keep using that and show them, now this is what, because they're already in that self-doubt. Remember, I want to give an opposite response to a dog that's giving me something I disagree with. That opposite response may be complete disinterest in them. Okay, that's called tacit disapproval. I am not doing anything with you. I am tacitly disapproving. In other words, I'm just doing what I'm doing. You don't exist. You're just coming with me. Okay, so there's approval, there's disapproval. There's a tacit approval and tacit disapproval. Tacit approval means if I don't say anything and you do whatever you want to do, I'm I'm approving it, obviously. Tacit disapproval is you want to interact with me in a certain way. And if I don't, that's tacitly disapproving. It's not a direct action against. Okay. That help, guys? Okay.
I'd like to talk about my.
That's a very advanced thing. That's the one that we go over in old course 4, now course 3. So
I'd like to talk a little bit about my experience. So I did the first exercise on Friday. It went well. I've done these exercises with both my dogs. On the second day, so my dog, the one struggle I have with him on leash is he's very high squirrel drive. And if I'm like really present and on it, I will walk him with just a regular martingale. If he sees a squirrel, I can tell him to let it go, and he lets it go. But where I struggle with him is that I can be consistent for weeks on end, and then there'll be a moment where I'm not paying attention and he sees a squirrel and takes off. And so that happened to me when I did that second exercise, because for this reason, if I know I'm not going to be 100% aware of what he's doing, I use a prong collar, just for the safety aspect. But when I was doing exercise 2, he did this. Okay, I don't have a fence and yard, and so he was with me. He was doing it. He was with me, and then I turned around and he saw a squirrel, and he had so much time to, and I kind of sent the clip on Telegram of the short clip, because you can see where he starts to run. Like, there's no way I have the ability to hold him back when he has that much running space, and he's an 80 plus pound dog. So, and then what happened when I did these exercises subsequently, he continued, because he got to run after that squirrel. That was now a new exciting place, where normally wouldn't have been. Like, first exercise, he wasn't necessarily looking, So I didn't want to, but I ended up using the prong collar again, just to have it as that safety barrier for exercise 3. But I'm just kind of wondering how to work with this, and it was also kind of funny because I went to the park yesterday, and like I practiced these exercises, at least the directional ones, and both my dogs did really well and were really with me. And I've been really, overall, I've been making a lot of improvements with their behaviors, but the squirrel thing has been really hard for me to get through with him, because the moment I let my guard down, if he sees them, he's still taken off.
Yeah. Okay. So I still advise trainers that call me up all over the world, all the time. And I go back to, you have to meet that head on. You have to create an exercise to teach the dog something other than that. Because if you encounter it on an occasional basis, then it's going to be self-reinforcing, because he feels good afterwards.
Yeah.
It's the dopamine rush afterwards. It's the adrenaline shot of that pure predatory aspect that overwhelms the brain, makes whatever he's doing in that moment superfluous, and simply focus on, I got to go kill that thing, because that's who I am. I'm a predator. And so you have to create an exercise that creates the squirrel in him, and work that exercise to teach him, just because there's a squirrel over there, I want to remind you, you're attached to me, and that's not what we're doing right now. So that's what I mean by relevancy as well. You have to become relevant in that moment, regardless of what other stimuli there are. Okay. So it's literally you solve the problem by meeting it directly. And how do you meet it directly? You set up a scenario with hopefully our human superior brain of intellect and figure out a process that you can go through, that it's not the process. The process it's a teaching aspect, but it's figuring out, how can I replicate that type of stimuli on a regular basis to where I can do exercises with him specifically. Maybe it's a human over there with a squirrel puppet on the other side of the tree, and it does this over and over again. You know, something, you figure out something that creates that stimulus, and then work with the dog directly and teach him, now, here's what I want you to do. Instead of running over there, simply alert, you know, sit, look at me, to alert me that there's something over there. And then we can either go investigate, which you do sometimes slowly together, or I go, no, not interesting to me. Come on, let's go over here. Then the dog learns a completely different behavior for that action, because it's not about satiating that dopamine rush afterwards. It's about becoming a partner with a trusted member of the pack. And that's what is more important than the individual. And that's what you need to teach them. Okay.
How, I guess I just, because I've tried to do that essentially. So it's just been, there's been times where like I've been taking him to the park at a time where I know that the squirrels are really active, so I can work through it. Right. And like by the end of that session, he's fine. But it's again, it's kind of struggling because during these setups, he's in that training space and he gets it pretty quickly. But then it's always these like offhanded times where he's very aware when I'm not on the same, like not aware.
The key. Yeah, that is the key. You're not teaching him. You're teaching him situationally, not overall. Okay. So your intent is going to the park to teach him about squirrels, right? And response. When your intent isn't there, he knows it and he goes back to being a predator. So instead, we've got to teach him, this is your response each and every time, regardless. And I'm going to remind you before we do anything else, this is what I want you to do. So if you go back to the park, your intent is to do something else. What I would do is go seek out a squirrel and say, okay, now I'm reminding you, this is the response I want from you when you see a squirrel. Good boy, let's go. Now let's go do our thing. That's how you teach more than situationally. You generalize by teaching them each and every time first.
Okay. I guess that's where I've been struggling, because I can go we'll go 1 or 2 months without an issue, and then again it's that one time. And so as a human, that's been really challenging to be 100% consistent on.
Yes, and that's you have to put more work in to begin with and less work later. And so your charge basically is to know that if that disturbs you and you want a different behavior, that's the behavior you got to work on, period, each and every time. You have to remind them each time, everywhere you go. Okay, that's your consistency, and that teaches him. And it may take, remember those timelines, that 3 days, that 7 to 10 days, 21, 30, 90 days, 3 months. Okay, those periods. The more severe a behavior is, and frankly, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing as a dog. That's what he is. You simply disagree with it because it yanks you around. So, we've got to teach that. That's what the partnership is about, is for them to learn what we agree with, disagree with, and sometimes we got to go after the squirrel together, but it's on your choice, not his. Okay. So it's teaching the partnership aspect, not a singular behavior for you. Understand, or am I not explaining well enough? This could be a whole 3 hours.
I'm happy to talk later, just because I haven't found a solution that's been effective for this versus
I've done this so many times with all sorts of aspects, dogs that are reactive to humans, to sound, to the squirrel running, whatever, and I've done this so many times. The process is the same always. And it's the focus and intent. And we have to remind them wherever we go, because every time you go back to the park, it's not the same place. There's a different smell. It's different weather. The squirrels are in different locations. So it isn't the same every single time. That's why a closed environment where you're working with that dog on that situation to teach what I want or what I'm accepting of it to match with me, not just singularly go after some stimuli.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what you're looking for, is check with me first. Don't just go blundering off. That's what you're asking for, really, because still a predator and still going to be a predator regardless. Okay, that's the mind. You're not asking them to not be a predator. What you're asking them to do is check in with you first, and that's the way you need to work it. Okay, we can talk later. Okay. Does that help, guys? That was a good question. We need to get into this. Sorry.
Can I just ask one last question? When we finish the activities, Maruki would be pretty amped up and kind of come running over and jumping. And then there was a little bit of like the mouth butting into me. And so I didn't know if that was a possessive thing or a just I'm amped up because I've been doing what you wanted for so long.
Okay, so it's always a multiple layered answer, period, because they're complicated animals that are very intelligent. So the jumping up and down is to affect you, to get you excited. And you have to ask your, okay, I'll give you a little bit of an answer and then I'm going to go back. So the excitement, the enjoyment of that moment, what he's saying, okay? What your dog is telling you, I enjoyed that. I want more of this. This is great. Let's do more right now, okay? You have to ask, what was it that they enjoyed? And then the jumping up and down, the touching, and the muzzle punching is obviously, as you've seen, is a much higher level of, I like this, I'm telling you, I want this. It's the social possessive side of, I want this, I'm telling you right now, which is, okay, which is a lack of respect in some level. Don't take this as a human ego thing, okay? But a lack of respect and a journey so far of misunderstanding and miscommunication. So the dog feels it has to go to that level to communicate to you. Okay. As you go through this, it's going to be less and less and less. Okay. So what was it about the activity that the dog wanted to continue? He enjoyed the connection with you. It's probably the first time on that level that the dog's had that connection with you. Honestly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Does that
That makes sense. It's perfectly.
Okay. You know, a lot of people, let's see, Robin, were you at the, you were at the, no, you weren't at the Philly one, you were at the Cleveland one, that's right. So at Philadelphia, we had probably at the end of it, I usually go around the room and, you know, I used to take more time and actually talk to everybody than I do now. I'm just asking for people to comment. But in Philly, 6 years ago now, 6 years ago, that room was packed, but at the end of it, I didn't expect the emotional outpouring. And I would say probably 70% of the people, when they were describing things, actually busted out crying. Very emotional because they'd never really known their dogs. And these are trainers, guys, professional trainers, most of them. So it's that first time of recognizing and having that level of connection. Don't be embarrassed that it hasn't happened. Just be happy that it is. Okay. So wanted to mention that. Okay. We do need to get on with looking at the videos so we can all laugh. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Jeez. Okay. So Nina, you are up first. I see one video. Did you do all of them at the same time or what happened?
I did all of them. I just did them on each different days. This particular video, I was
okay.
out with electricity, so.
Yes, 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 I'm well aware. Yes. We have the same weather.
We did.
So, okay. So do you want to comment on this before we look at it?
I mean, this is one of my fosters. I've had her in my care for over a year now. Very
Okay.
high prey drive. I mean, honestly, I've done, leash pressure on off work with her. I mean, she's very connected. She was just the dog I chose at that particular moment because I had her out. So I'm like, let's go get this done. So
That's fine. Okay. All right. So I have in modern speak, I have a few trigger words that trigger me.
leash
One of them is
psychological
pressure. Psychological pressure is vague.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily believe in it in the way that it's connoted. But leash pressure, unless you wad that leash up and push it into the dog, that's not what it is. It is tension. Okay. There is certainly pressure from the collar on one side where you're pulling against it. But this is tension. And this is what the dog feels, is the tension. Okay. And there's a difference between pressure and tension. In a, if I pull on this is in tension, okay, in physics. And if I pull hard enough, it's going to break. But the tension is felt at both ends this way. Pressure is pushing against this. Okay. So words have meaning. I'm not picking on you. I pick on everybody that says leash pressure. I hate that because it's it's the exact opposite of what it is. And words have meaning, and I like to be precise.
Okay.
Okay. So not picking on you. You're just the first one to say it today. And even some of my people who've been through course 5, course 6 still make the mistake of using that word every once in a while, and I catch them. So
it's fine.
All right. So let's look at this. Okay. I'm assuming you're just setting yourself up. There you go. Okay, good. Good position. The dog. Okay. So went a little early. Was just a little uncertain to begin with. Okay, you're going too early with him. Wait. Can't see the dog, but assuming that it's going to, there. Okay, that was good timing right there. Actually, a little slow. So I'm going to stop it right here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Here, let's go back a few seconds. Okay, so right here, I assume you took a step and then waited. Okay. So it already took one step, was taking a second step before you moved. Okay, that first step, timing is everything, guys. And dogs think in terms of the slowest dog of recognizing physical activity from a human. The slowest I've ever seen is a half a second. Most of them are an eighth to a quarter of a second. This is what you got to understand. That's what these videos are going to help you guys. Eighth is a pretty fast dog, fast mind dog, Malinois, those types. Maybe even less, 16th of a second for some of those dogs. Most of them are in the 8-second range. The next group is quarter second. And those are the ones that are comfortable with you. The half second is the uncertainty or just a slow dog. And I don't mean slow mentally. It's just like they just want to check everything out, make sure that's what you really mean, all of those things. Okay. But that's how long that is. Got an itch, buddy? Scratching himself. So I'm going to back this up just a split second. So you see where his nose is right there. Okay. And he's there. So he jumped into that. You were uncertain. And that's what you're saying. I'm uncertain in your body language right there. So by the time he jumped in there, you should have been going full on. boom, right? Timing, go with him right there. Reinforce that. Okay. Does that help?
Yes.
Because it wasn't until he was already taking a third step before you started really going. Did you see his pause there? As a matter of fact, he started moving, and then see how he paused right there? It's like, well, do you really mean it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why these videos are so great, because we can stop in those microseconds. So he paused, and then you go, oh yeah, okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, he was already going that way. You should have just gone. Okay, so that was confusion, and in communicating, that's confusion. Okay, so he joined you right there. See it? And then he goes, well, what's going on? You're not coming this way, but you're still facing the same way he's going. That's confusing. Okay, so when he goes that way and he goes, okay, now we're going to go this way, and you're facing that way, when he stops and look at you, he goes, okay, I don't understand you. So that's part of the issue. Everybody else is shaking their head. Yeah, they're starting to get it. Just in this one little clip, 36 seconds, we're seeing lots of the mistakes that humans make. Okay. So if you're going that way, that's fine. If you want to, now, I don't want the dog way out in front of me like this and then stop and turn, because he doesn't know I'm stopping and turning. I want to give him a clue by making sure I may turn this way and have him. So when I turn, let's look. So if I'm behind the dog, okay, the dog's in front here, I'm doing this horizontally, okay? If I'm behind the dog here and the dog's ahead of me and I start moving this way, and he senses that because of leash tension, then he turns. Now he's behind me. You see it? Now he can see me. So I may stop there, and he goes, oh, okay, what are we doing? And then I turn. Okay. So I'm going to use those angles again to get him. It's kind of like, you know, two cars on the racetrack. One turns here, he's in front. One turns here, he's in back. Got it?
Yep.
So it's your positioning, dog in front. If the dog's in front, I'm going to change my position. We're going to change angles so that the dog is either beside me or in back of me. Now I can communicate with my intent. Okay. But when the dog's in front, you're out of the picture. His mind is out there, not back here. Got it? This is good. I'm talking to everybody, not just you. I'm not fussing at you.
No, I completely get it though. It makes,
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. I should have.
See right there? So
Yeah.
he got to the end of the leash. This is about teaching, guys. This isn't about forcing a dog to stop and then go with me at the same direction. This is about teaching directionality so that the dog does pay attention to you without having to look at you like this. Okay. So the mind is with you. Part of that mind is with you, walking regardless of where you go. If you simply stop and force the dog to stop and the dog goes, okay, what now? And you move forward, it makes no sense to the dog. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
Trainers, are you seeing that? Okay. So stop doing that crap. I hate that. That's just force and compulsion of, you know, I'm going to force you to pay attention to me by stopping and starting and changing direction and yanking on your leash and all that stuff. That is not a good relationship. I hope you understand the difference. I hope you're seeing the difference. Okay. So yeah, he was fine. He was going, well, okay, so what? So notice what he just did. The nose to the ground, that's confusion. So the second he turned and he goes, well, you're not moving. Okay, I don't understand. That's a displacement right there. His nose went to the ground. You will see that a lot in your videos, all of you guys. When the dog goes, okay, we were traveling together. We're on a mission, and all of a sudden the mission stops. Okay, I don't know what to do. Okay, and then you go again, and he goes, okay, I guess we're going that way anyway. So it's confusing. You're pulling on the leash. Can't use the leash. Now, one thing that'll help here, if you're facing this direction and your dog is directly behind you, if you'll actually do this.
Okay.
I don't know how many of you guys have ever seen the old samurai movies. You know, the swordsman here like this, and the guy gets surrounded by all these guys. What does he do? He turns his head down because now peripherally he can see behind him. So if a dog is behind you, I'm not going to turn and face the dog. I may turn my head this way and look down so I can see at least the paws.
Okay.
Okay. So my peripheral vision here, this cone goes like this and goes behind me. Right. Good weight. Outweighting the dog. That's good. Good. Now was perfect timing. Do you notice it? That was good timing. You felt that? Dog joined you. Good. So you got it on the second step instead of the first step that time, but that's because he was behind you. That was perfect. Okay. That was very good. Nice connection there. Oops. Now see how far he got in front of you before you stopped. He didn't know you stopped. This isn't about tricking a dog. This is about communicating. Okay. So before he goes way in front of you, practice that stop and turn, or just turn and see if he'll join you immediately. He's sensitive enough. I think he would simply join you when you turned. Okay. He's connected with you. You're just, this is, and please don't take any of this personally. It's just the miscommunication that's happening. So he's got a good connection to you. He's joining you. That's nice. Very, very nice. Right there. See it? That was perfect what I meant. So in peripheral vision, you turn and he goes, okay, I'm fine with that. Okay. Not bad at all. Okay. So it's always difficult to go into the dog because now the dog's going, why are you coming at me? Or are you turning? Where's your interest? What's all this stuff? So they're analyzing
frame too. That was the hard part, is seeing a frame.
Yeah. Yeah. So when a dog is right beside you and you turn into them, they're going like this, like, I have to analyze, are you coming at me? No, your intent is over here. Okay, I'll join you. But it takes that pause, that half a second of analyzation of what's going on. So turning is an art form too into them. Very nice. Good. Got a good connection with this guy. Nice. See how he paused? You slowed down, he slowed down. And you didn't go into him. That was good. Okay. So we're communicating, we're respecting space. You paused. Look at that. See, as you slowed down, he started to slow down too. So his mind went from, okay, we're going this direction to what are you doing? Without having to look at you. This is great for everybody. Trust me. All these guys are learning. Okay. And then you turned and he goes, okay, we're going this way. Nice. Okay, the timing there, again, don't lose your dog. You're trying to teach. As soon as you come with me, see, it was a little early. You went a half a step before he did. We want him to have that half a step to join you rather than I'm just going where I'm going regardless of what you do. See the difference?
Yes.
Okay, so for all the rest of you guys, don't just turn and ignore the dog and just start walking. Okay, you're not teaching the dog anything except, okay, I'm going this way. You're unimportant. You start understanding the aspect of that partnership now. It's a respect both ways. It's not just you have to respect me. This is fantastic, guys. I love this. You may not, but I do. Keep touching things. Yeah, see, that was harsh.
Yeah.
So be more communicative and less harsh with your dog.
Okay.
They're smart animals. Okay. Okay, so that was almost, I'm just doing this and you can join me or not. That's not what we're teaching here. Okay. Don't take it wrong.
No, it's okay. I'm good.
Yeah. He's very good. Oh, he wasn't sure about that. Did you see that leg lift? Watch. It's like, huh, interesting. So he's pausing there. Did you see the leg lift again? He's pausing as you do now. He's replicating what you're doing. Look at that. Stop, lifts the paw. Okay, just for that split second. That's interesting. That's a great dog. He really is. Man, I'd keep him.
She's kind of here forever. I've considered her sanctuary, so.
Very connected to you, wants to connect, wants to be able to communicate better. Okay. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, what I noticed on this is lack of peripherals. Like I wasn't looking down. I was so focused on don't look at your dog. So everything that you said and explained makes sense on being able to, hey, wait for a paw, turning my body instead of in the harsh angles, which I've been told that before, but for whatever reason, this makes sense. Watching it, break it down. So thank you.
Yeah, when we get to look at this detail, these timings and all of this stuff, this is so helpful. It's much more helpful in this online to do this in a different way than the group stuff that I can point out what somebody's doing, stop the group, and then they all try it, but we can't go to this detail in the big groups. Okay. So that's the advantage of the online versus being in group. When we're in group, it's a completely different understanding and vibe. So it actually helps if you do both the online and the in group because you get a different experience. Okay. Thank you. That was really good.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to, let's see who my next victim is. I mean, there we go. Okay. That's how I do this. I'd forgotten. Okay. All right. Who's the next victim here? Kel. Okay. All right, Kel.
Okay, so this is, first of all, I feel like I'm back in art school and this is a painting critique. So it's a little painful. But I love the online course because this has been so eye-opening. I'm seeing all the mistakes, like with me, it's like, look, my peripherals I have to work on. There's so many steps I missed. And also with the first exercise, when I watched the video of you doing it, I remember you saying you kind of wanted to confuse the dog. So I think I wasn't thinking of making it more fluid turns to have the dog follow me in this one. So I would think I was doing a lot of what the previous person did of like turning and like totally confusing the dog. Okay. That's all I gotta say. And this is a dog, this is a training client. And it's the first day that I was with her.
Okay. Okay. So the reason I put my hat on is because I got this big window here and there's a lot of glare. It isn't because I cover up my bald spot. I don't care. Just so you guys know. I don't have that kind of a vain ego. Okay. So looking, sometimes with dogs, it's going to take that much time for you to be relevant to them to go, okay, I guess we're not moving until that right there. That was good. Okay. That wasn't bad at all. Nice, nice. Oh, well, okay. So right there, the stop was unnecessary because the dog joined you in that direction already. Said, okay, what is this? So this isn't about stopping and restarting. Think about when you stop an action, even though someone's joining you. It's like, okay, what's this? So you broke the chain of the brain joining you and keeping on. Okay. Unless there's a purpose of stopping, like we came to a street, there's a threshold. We'll talk about thresholds later. Okay. Because threshold, if I don't talk about threshold within the next few times, somebody remind me, please, because everything is about that threshold. Everything. And I don't say that about many things. You guys that know me, that have been around me a long time. If I say everything is about this, it really is. And it's one thing that I want to make sure that all of my students at all levels at this point understand. Okay. Laura. Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So we backed it up a little bit. Here we go.
So you're gonna see me stopping a lot because I think I just didn't understand exactly
okay.
that we were supposed to be more fluid.
That's okay. It just gives me something to chirp out. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So right there. Okay. So dog was joining it now. Okay. So you see what happened there in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You stopped that whole interaction right there. And the dog goes, okay, well, that's confusing. And so it takes a couple of steps and then it goes, well, you're not relevant now because it's confusing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, and you should have gone. Because it gave you the step
really?
right there. Yeah, look. So, okay. Watch. I'm confused. I stopped. He moved right there. Boom. Says, okay. And then you stopped again. He's like, okay, I'll go over here. You see it? That's that quarter second I'm talking about. Okay. So the brain, let's look at this whole sequence because this is critical.
This is going to be so painful.
To everybody. No, don't think about it as yourself. Just think about it as learning. Okay.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is why I
totally.
want you guys videoing this stuff because this is so helpful. So the dog stops, looks, I'm concerned. I'm still concerned. Why did you stop? Do you see where the dog's mind is there?
Yeah.
Why did you stop? Why were you concerned about something? Was there something of interest? Was it a threat? Was there a squirrel? All of those things go through a dog's mind. Why did you stop? Because we were going together. Okay. Just look at that alert right there. It's like, what are you looking at? That's the dog's universe right there. Yeah. No better. Perfect. Right there. You see where the dog's looking? Where you are looking. What's over there? That's a dog's brain, guys. God, I wish I could just bottle that right there. That's a perfect moment. So I'm not looking for perfection from you guys. I'm looking for opportunities to see what's in the dog's brain. Okay. So that was beautiful. And then he goes, okay, I'm still concerned. Well, I didn't see anything over there. So I'll look behind us. I'm checking out our backside. That's what he's doing right there. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'm not picking on you. Forget it. Doesn't matter who it is. Excuse me. Okay.
So Nelson,
A little bit of tension there. And then you stopped again. See it? And he stopped. Hang on just a second. I gotta point this out. Okay. So it's the start stop. Okay. Still concerned. Goes, what's over there? Okay, I'll join you. And then you were stopped when he moved forward. Okay. And so he's still looking over there like, what's of concern? So his mind is entirely on what you stopped and looked at. Yeah. Oh, there. Gave you 2 steps. You didn't move. Okay. Don't beat yourself up, please.
No, I'm not. It's just like, I think it's fascinating to watch it this slowly because I've never watched video of myself before like this. And it's what I want to know is how do I work on my peripheral? You know, I feel like I really struggle with that because she took so many steps that I kept missing.
Yeah. Part of it is just working with your dog and having that awareness. So one of the things that I teach, everybody by the time they get to course 2 should read Defensive Living.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's the other book? Come on, guys.
Oh, what is it?
Gift of Fear.
The Gift of
The
Fear,
Gift of Fear.
Gavin DeBecker. So Defensive Living, Bo Hardy, and myself. Sorry, I helped write the book. And The Gift of Fear, there's, yeah, Rachel's holding it up right there, Gavin DeBecker. And The Gift of Fear will teach you about avoidance and awareness. And awareness is everything. You're aware of your surroundings, everything that's going on around you, even while having a conversation with somebody else, all of those things. You become skilled and trained at those things. A martial art, practice of a martial art, or anything that requires a high level of concentration and skill, that you also have to be aware of your surroundings. And the reason martial arts are good is because it puts you in that highest level of threat situation, even though it's a controlled situation. You know you're not going to be hurt unless you're just not aware. You still got to block. And that is it's like a force multiplier in you learning, is taking some sort of classes, course, system, whatever you want to call it, in those higher level things. It's like having a dance partner. If you do high level dance, it's the same thing. You have to be aware of yourself, your skill level, all of the things, precisely doing things, and be aware of that dance partner. So dance is a perfect thing to learn this aspect too. But the predator prey aspect, and I guess if you do like rumba dance, well, that's kind of predator prey sometimes too. Okay, sorry.
May I ask a question with this? Because I have the same thing that Kel's doing. I had that same thing. I can't peripherally, I'm having difficulty. So as that's progressing, would it be okay if we're making the leash a little bit shorter? Because I'm doing internal work right now as much as I can. And I recognize that a lot of what's going on is my own internal issues that I need to resolve in order to do this, right? I also know I need to work on my periphery, but until I can get to that point, I want to make sure I'm being a good trainer. So does that mean that I need to shorten the leash a little bit so I can see that? Because I can't feel it on the leash always either. They may be taking a step, but until they really get closer to me, I'm like, got it, I'm moving.
So here's what I would like for you guys to practice, is practice your peripheral vision, because that's going to help you focus it rather than use a tool to negate that. It's your awareness and how to see the dog at all times. Okay. And that's what you need to focus on. If I'm standing like this, my dog is straight behind me, I may continue having my chest, my feet, my hips, and everything else this way, but I turn my head and I focus down so that I can actually see behind me. Okay. So learn where your peripheral vision cone actually is. Okay. And how to manipulate that. I don't need to see up here, right? So I can turn that down and still see everything along the plane of where houses, buildings, the ground line is, everything else. I can still see all that, and yet I can see way behind me here too. Okay. So even a slight turning, if you need to, get your shoulder out of the way, those sorts of things. Become aware of your peripheral aspect. Okay. Especially when you're working singularly with a dog like this. This is why we do the exercise this way, so you guys can focus on nothing but yourself and the dog. There's nothing else out there. Okay. Does that help? I'd prefer you not shorten the leash. I'd prefer you become aware of your peripheral area.
You're going to love my video then.
It's okay. I'm not criticizing, I'm critiquing. Okay. There's a difference. Yes. I'm not doing what some of the architecture professors did to one of the guys who was a cabinet maker, came in to become an architect, and he would build these beautiful models out of wood that were just perfect. And they wanted him to explore design, not make a perfect box. And one guy went in and started, see if you tore this out and I remember the guy nearly had a heart attack as he ripped away some stuff and said, yeah, if you cut in here and all this stuff, he couldn't see for the forest for the trees. The next model, he put pins inside, actual pins, so that when he reached in and tried to pull out, the pins stuck him in his hand. Well, he was booted because it was all about this product, not about the design. He was looking at the wrong thing. His fault, you know? So anyway. Okay, so here we go. Dog's still concerned. Now it's really concerned. So where's the dog's focus now? Took 2 steps, too late. Okay, facing your way. Okay, go, 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 go. Whoa. Okay. Okay, Kel, don't hide your face. It's okay.
No, you could laugh. It's cool. It's cool. I laugh too.
Okay. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here, but okay. So now again, what happens with a dog that's confused? It goes back to its nose. Okay, it's looked all around. It's still back seconds ago where you stopped and were turned and faced and concerned about something, and it's still trying to figure out what you were concerned about. That's what's in this dog's mind.
Crazy.
I hope you guys see it. Okay. Because this is great. You may not think so, but there you go. Okay. Now did you see the check-in? That was perfect. It's like, okay, is this what we're doing? We're not concerned anymore. Watch the check-in. It's about a half a second. It's about right here. There. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
That's the check-in. Like, oh, okay, we're no longer concerned about what was over there. What are we doing together?
Great.
Those are the things that I see. The timing, this is what, when I started realizing, guys, please don't take any of this in a personal way. When I see the horrible timing with trainers of not recognizing these things, that's why I started the leash handling courses, to learn how to not use a leash and get a dog to go with you. That's what the leash handling course was about. Okay. And by the end of those 2 days, their dog's just going with them. Unfortunately, that's just 2 days, and it's difficult to go through stuff like this and these concepts in 2 days when I'm just trying to get them to not hold their leash like this, be aware of their own body, relax, and just go and have their dog go with them. Be relevant to the dog. That's the whole point. And that doesn't mean, when I say be relevant to your dog, that doesn't mean your dog loving you, pay attention to you all the time. It means exactly this, the communication that you're sending to your dog, is it relevant to them?
When dogs check in, is the appropriate response to take that moment to connect with them and then reset your intentions to where you're going? In that situation?
Not necessarily. In that, it wasn't a check-in to check in. What are we doing? It's more of a, I get it. Now I get it. I get what we're doing in this moment, and it's momentary. It's like, okay, we're traveling together, because watch the position of the dog to her from behind and uncertain. Once they start moving together, there you go. See, now it's like, oh, I got it. Did you see it? It wasn't, it was more of an agreement check-in of, I've got this, now I see what you're doing. Okay. So check-in is not, it's used too much, especially in sport dog world. They want the dog to be like this constantly at them. And so that flows over into everything else, and people misunderstand what that check-in is for most of the time. It's not, please tell me what to do. It's, I understand in that particular case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in a situation where a dog is reactive and checks in and is kind of like tentative of whether they have a reaction or not, like what would the
That's
appropriate
entirely
response for
different.
that? Okay.
That's entirely
Yeah.
different. Yeah. And we could talk scenarios till I was blue in the face on that, because every one of them, every dog is different, every situation is different, and it depends in that moment. You know, people always ask me, how did you know to do that? Seemed like the right idea at the time. Because I'm receiving information from the dog constantly, and I'm giving information to the dog constantly. So it's that one moment and situation that we are communicating back and forth together as to how that the intent of the dog and the intent of me. A lot of times the intent of the dog in that quote unquote check-in with a reactive dog is, do I need to attack you? And my response is, just try it. Or my response is, I don't even see you as a threat. So, and that calms them down. Depends on the dog. If it's a cheap shot dog, I'm not going to turn my attention away from it because it's going to get the cheap shot. It's looking for an advantage. Okay. If it's a cheap shot dog and I go, just try it, buddy, I'm not backing off.
Oh, I guess I meant more of like a dog reactive dog.
Okay.
I actually had some beautiful experiences yesterday with one of my dogs is reactive, and I kind of like had a good aha moment where we were in a park and there were a lot of dogs, and it's kind of like I was very aware of where my awareness was, and so I realized that sometimes I look too much at the other dog, and that signals uncertainty. And so I would acknowledge the other dog, look at the other dog quick, and then refocus to where I was going. And it communicated much more efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you that's where I say you must acknowledge to the dog, respond to the dog of what it's concerned about. You go, yeah, I got it. It's just nonchalant. It's like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. Let's go over here. The dog goes, oh, okay. You don't see that as a threat. You recognize it. You don't see it as a threat. I'll trust you. That's the relevancy. But you have to acknowledge, you have to recognize it, acknowledge it to the dog. You don't have to look at the dog. The dog sees you looking there. And so you go, yeah, no big deal. You never stiffen up. You don't focus on it. You don't go like this. That's how you deal with those types of things.
I think just quick question, because sometimes in the past she's checked in with me, and I think there's been some miscommunication where she's kind of asking me like, is this a threat I need to react to? And I think almost in giving her that eye contact, she saw that as me looking for direction, and she was like, well, I'm going to react because I'm unsure. And so
no, you don't. It's not looking at the dog. It's looking at the potential threat, or recognizing what's interested, what your dog is interested in. That's what you recognize, and then you give a response of, yeah, that's a threat, or no, that's not a threat, depending on your behavior. If you're smooth, slow, easy, no big deal, let's go on type thing, the dog is going to respond that way because you are the closest thing to the dog and you influence the dog. Proximity has meaning. It's not just about possessing things, it's all about influencing. Okay, so when I talked about proximity and distance and all of that stuff, the closer I am to my dog, the more I influence it, or it influences me, and I don't let dogs influence me. I'm always guiding the dog as to my behavior, my intent, and my response to things, to all those chaotic things that happen out there in nature. And by nature, I mean anything outside your front door, which includes cars and all that stuff. If I give a nonchalant look at a car and go, yeah, no big deal, it's going to influence the dog because nothing bad happened. And that's what you count on, is the dog goes, okay, hey, idiot, there's something coming at us. And you go, yeah, no big deal. And the dog goes, but, and then it goes by and you go, see, I told you so. And the dog goes, okay, I guess I can trust you. That's everything, every time, everywhere. I hope that helps.
Oh, I don't want to take too much time out of this
Okay.
class.
Yeah,
Talk
we
the
gotta-
details about
yeah.
this, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, some of these things are in future courses that we have
Yeah.
7 or 10 days to talk about. You know, everybody wants to get it all at once. It can't happen that way, but yeah, I understand. Okay, so let's move on. That's not okay. So I'm taking this opportunity early on for these little things. You will see some of that in the later ones too, on your personal things. We won't spend as much time on those. I'll just remind you of these things. Okay, but so watch the hesitation in your walk when you turn. Look at that.
Mhm.
See that? That's uncertainty, it's fear, it's trepidation. You're showing the dog, I'm not sure. And so what did the dog do? Watch the dog. Look, 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 look. You see it? It's like, okay, what do I need to be concerned about? Do I need to take over from you? Okay. Move this out of the way so I can actually see the dog. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, and then the check-in, do you see it? I didn't see it because the pictures were in the way. So it's like, okay, do I need to be concerned? But you're communicating now, and guess what? The dog is looking at you for communication too. That's a good thing. Okay, so now the dog, I can't even see him right now where this is. Okay, let me move this. Oh, can't see it at all. Okay, so the dog is probably looking out over here this way, going, okay, well, you were concerned, you slowed down this direction. There's something out there. So it's the same thing as over on the other side of that pause, that uncertainty. Okay. I want everybody to see what you communicate, not you, Kel, what you humans communicate by your body and actions. Okay. Interest, there's a car going by, it's probably going to wait for a while. Yep. So a car goes by, see other activity going on. Yep, yep, yep. So every time you have a hesitation, an uncertainty, a stop, when it doesn't make sense to the dog, they're going to check things out. Okay, confused again, nose goes to the ground, checking it out, still checking it out. So you see where this dog's mind is. It's, if you're not certain, I got to check it out. So this dog is satisfying itself that there isn't a threat out there because your pauses and what you're saying, I'm concerned about this. That's what you're saying when you stop and pause and those things. Okay. And that's a long wait. but you see what the dog is saying? But there's stuff over here.
So this is the whole thing with reactivity and everything, is that like there's a lot of noise and things are happening all around us. But if I didn't, so what you're saying, it comes down to that. If I didn't pause, she would have just trusted in me and kept walking with me.
She would learn to come with you because she begins to trust that you see it, you're unconcerned about it, and you're communicating that, and we're just moving.
Right.
There you go. Okay, there's one mind exploded. Excuse me. So you see how our movement, our bodies, our heads, where we go with the body is communicating all this stuff to the dogs that we don't understand. We're actually communicating these things. And so to help a dog, we have to think inside their head, okay? Because they're seeing the universe differently than we do. Again, confusion, nose goes to the ground. Cars going by, okay, sniffing, goes, well, I'll go. Okay, so that was a perfect example. This is a great video.
Thanks,
Really
Nelson.
Because it's a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so watch. So the dog goes, okay, well, I've checked our backside. I don't see anything, but I'm still confused as to what we're doing. And so I'm going to come near you, but I'm still confused, which is why the nose is to the ground. And then you start moving. And the dog goes, okay, I guess we're going this way. Nice check-in right there at the end. That was nice. Did you see that? How the head lifted back up after the leg? So that trust of, okay, what are you doing? Oh, you're trying to get that. Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks. Okay, so dogs acknowledge when you accommodate that. That's one of the things about, I talked about the long line course I'd like to do. I don't know if I ever will. If nobody comes and nobody signs up, I guess I won't. Nobody's interested. But I don't, it's my job, as you said to your dog right there, it's my job to handle the leash. It's not your job to get untangled. That's my job. Same thing with a long line. That's how I teach it. You don't just let the long line, the dog get all tangled up and figure out how to undo themselves. My obligation is to take care of that leash. Leash isn't the dog's, the leash is mine. And I'm communicating a lot of things with that. One of them is, I don't care about you. You just get tangled up. I'm going on type thing. I hate that. I detest that. So instead, my obligation is, it's like that bungee cord or those stupid, things that reel out and reel back. That's me. I'm this machine reeling it out and back for what the dog wants. That keeps my connection, my focus, and my understanding of distance there as well. Plus, it allows me that last 5 feet, if a dog's running away from me, to know where that is and to remind the dog, hey, you're close to the end of the leash as the tension increases, so the dog doesn't go whack and fly up in the air and flop on the ground. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Anyway. Okay. That was great, Kel. I know you're probably, but that was great. I really appreciate that. That was good. Okay. So
I just want to understand real quick the result that you're looking for. I know it's not a short answer, but I got it doesn't matter. I'm learning, but the stopping and the starting, oh my goodness, do I do that? So what is the result I'm really looking for at this stage of the game?
what you're looking for is more of a smoothness, more of a connection, more of a communication to where your intent of things. Okay, good question. From the standpoint of my intent is not as human by myself and you just follow. That's what most people do, right? You're supposed to respect me because I'm a human. I'm the superior being. Well, I'm sorry, a dog or a squirrel or a mouse doesn't know you're a superior being. You're just bigger than them. They don't look at humans and say, oh my God, what a superior being to us.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Okay. Does a moose coming, a 2,000-pound moose coming after to stomp on you, go, oh, I can't stomp on that human. He's a superior being.
Yeah.
That's human ego. So I can't singularly be saying to this animal, I don't care, you're just going to do what I want you to do. Then I have no connection other than I force you to do whatever I want you to do, which makes no sense to a lot of animals because humans are different the way we think. So I have to recognize what's important to this entity and be a partner to it and guide it together to be smooth and communicative back and forth. That's what this whole system is about. Relationship-based behavior modification, relationship-based training. That's what this is. Okay. So all of this is that partnership dance with you being the guide. Sometimes the dog is the guide because the dog senses things you don't. And so in that instance, you go, okay, what is it? And you go, okay, nothing of interest, let's go. And the dog goes, okay, but you're a partnership and you understand why that dog is acting the way it is and concerned rather than stop that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Okay, so I am going to somehow get out of this. There we go. And we'll go to the next one. Oh boy, it's Kel again.
Oh no, this one is like 4 minutes long, I think, so we could just watch like a minute of it.
We'll go through it. It gives us opportunity. Okay. So this one is about that first step, right? Did you see how? Okay. So let's analyze that for a second.
Can you enlarge the video, Nelson?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So that first step, you looked back. Did you see what the dog did? Second, you look back, it was this. What was your dog communicating to you?
I don't know. Was the dog looking there already, or was it when I looked back?
Let's look. So dog was at that angle. Look at the angle of the head.
Okay.
See the turn? It's like, no, hey, I'm looking over here. Don't check back with me right now. I'm looking out over there. Why aren't you looking over there? I'm concerned about that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Dogs are always communicating, always. Okay. So what happened there as you moved back, your proximity got closer, which means it's a more powerful influence. So you moved back to influence the dog, which is what happened. Right there. There. See it? The dog goes, okay, broke that brain, and then it focused on that truck coming by or whatever that thing was instantly. So you see how fast that works. The brain doesn't hang on for seconds. Watch. Got the influence, dog looked right there, and then boom, that's coming. Dog looked away to that. So it's no longer on you. That's how fast you have to work with that. So here's when you should have stepped. There. Dog's with you. Now it's gone. Did you see it? That's how fast it works. Lost the dog, had to check behind. Then he goes, okay, I guess. This is great. Trust me. Should have let have the whole leash. Should have let him have the whole leash. Or backed up the leash. That was good. Don't put tension on it. Okay. Uncertain about the situation, checking around. Oh, you could have come back before. So right.
What do you mean?
Okay. So right there, you took the step forward. Dog didn't see it. It's the motion that triggers them.
Okay.
Okay. It's not your position. In this case, this is about motion. Position is the first exercise. Motion is the second. Okay. I didn't expect you guys to understand these. This is why we're going through this. I want you to practice these things afterwards. All right. So watch this sequence. And this probably holds true to just about everybody who's videoed here. So you didn't see it. You had the opportunity to move back and then show the motion. See the stop? Did you see the little stutter step of the dog trying to join you and then going, okay, you're not moving. You're looking back to me. You're fussing with the leash. Watch right here. Checks. It's like, do I go that way? But you look where you're facing. Look at all that stuff going on. Okay. Even that stutter step is like, should I join you? And you're going, no. I'm fussing with all this stuff this way. Okay. Good. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay. So you see how you recovered there. Okay. this is wonderful, guys. These are such incredible tools to teach, to capture these moments. There you go. There you go. But you notice here, I'm also gonna, I'm not picking on you. So notice the hesitation. That was the recovery when you went back and then used the motion when the head came back around. But watch. Oh. Okay, now I want you to watch what you do with the leash. Okay, that was good. That was good. What I saw a little bit was a little bit of, okay, see the dog wasn't, it was peripheral vision was okay, but it's still focused way out here. And that, did you see when the leash hit? When there was a tiny bit of from this on the leash to this on the leash. This is a perfect example of what I say. The reason I created that leash handling course was because as much as humans rely on the leash to control the dog relies on the leash more for communication than they do the human. This is a perfect example. They feel that additional from a leash hanging down here to a leash beginning to pull. It doesn't even take that stretch. Okay, it's just the difference of the leash here. That Sharka in California years ago was the one that taught me how sensitive that they are with fur as long as my hand, and this 100 and whatever, 5,000 pound body. Its leash, its fur was literally, I could put my hand down into it and it was the length of my hand. Here's this massive dog with this massive neck and this fur, and the difference between holding the leash like this and like this, the dog felt the difference. Literally from that to that, the dog felt the difference. So when you're going from here to here, that I can feel that difference in this hand right there. And that's what I want to show you right here. Okay. Everything matters. You are communicating 100% of the time with the dog every time you're around a dog. Okay, so there, loose leash. Now watch what happens. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. So he sees you moving, but he doesn't react till that. Did you see when the leash went? So he's still, or she's still reacting with the leash itself, communicating. Good recovery. Nope, dog wasn't looking at you, didn't know. It's all about the leash at this point for that dog. Nose in the air, not bad. Still trying to gain information. I'm uncertain about what's behind us. I'm uncertain about this stuff. That's what the dog's telling you. Okay, so your fixed position. You were aware when that truck came by, she was going to look that way. But the focus is all about that. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you see the back and forth uncertainty there.
Right.
Okay, I'll go this way. Okay. Then stops. Then
so right here, I should be stepping back.
Yeah, anytime the dog doesn't join you, isn't looking at you, you can step back and then indicate motion. It's that first step that you're asking them to go with you. There you go. And that was good. Yep, that's okay. That's good. Good. Oh. Now watch. And I know you guys, these are difficult exercises because we're breaking down all of these different things that we normally do together to indicate something. And I'm emphasizing what each one of these means not just to the dog, but how you are performing them. So I know there's a lot of uncertainty, and as you do this more and you get more skilled, it all just flows together. So, and I'm talking to everybody here, Kel, not you. Okay. As my sensei said many, many years ago at one instructor's clinic, he finally got frustrated enough saying the same thing over and over again for 2 hours. He finally said, don't assume I'm not talking to you. And that was a lesson for me, because I thought I had it perfect and I was waiting on everybody else. And I went, okay, I won't. And from then on, I thought, okay, he's saying, get this up higher. I think I've got it in a perfect position. I will try it higher for a while. And guess what? I learned something from it. I went, I should have had it higher. Because everybody was lower than me on the technique, and I thought I was good. And then I raised it up even more, and I went, you know what? Yeah, it covers better if I get it higher. So he was talking to me too. Okay, so anyway, here we go. Watch this. So after this, dog's paying attention. Right there. Good. Yes. Oh, you see it? It's like, well, I don't know. So back and forth. So dog and human are trying to communicate, let's go this way, but there's a lot of uncertainty. So you stepped and you didn't trust. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So that back and forth, you didn't trust the dog because you didn't trust yourself in communicating. Okay, there you go. Now you're getting it. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Dog's smarter than you think. Yes, yes. Okay. Once they join, don't hesitate. Just go. Just go. Your certainty there would have made the difference. That's the message. Okay. So let's back that up just a little bit. When you are certain and you just go, guess what? The dog is certain too then. So right here, there was the hesitation again. The dog goes, okay, you don't know what you're doing. Are you still there? Yeah, you're still hesitating. See it? Okay. Now you understand the exercise. Don't beat yourself up. Actually, you did the exercise. You did the exercise well as far as the parameters of just take that first step, wait for the dog. But now you see the intent behind it. Yeah, nice check-in. So you, so where did the dog look back to? This is perfect. I love this. I'm sorry. Now look, see, you were looking over there. Dog goes, okay, looks up at you and you go, okay, I'm concerned about that over there. The dog goes, okay, I'm concerned too. I love it. This is beautiful because it's showing how the dog thinks and how the human thinks and the behaviors between the two. So the dog's going, okay, something over there. Must be. I can't find it, but I'm going to look for it. So you saw how fast that whip around check-in was. That's that quarter second. That's the quarter second I'm talking about. This dog does have a fast mind. So you have to be ready instantly to go, boom, there you go. Oh.
So should I have stepped there even though she didn't take a step?
No. What's happened here is a lot of staccato communication back and forth.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, step, the dog goes, not sure if you really mean it. So the history of the past, these two things are this staccato stuff. So the dog's going, okay, I don't really trust it. So I'm going to continue checking this out.
Right.
Yeah.
So when the dog checked in with her, she shouldn't have moved forward, even if it was for that quick second?
No, well, where she was standing, which was the neutral position before movement. Okay, let's try this. So right here, I may be forward there. Checked in, looked, because you looked, you moved back to neutral, which triggered the dog to check in with you. I may be past that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, right there, did you see the check-in? That was the instant should have moved forward because she was already at neutral position. Okay. If she already had her foot out, she couldn't move forward another step. It's from that neutral position. Okay. So now we got to outweight the dog. There. That was nice. The dog goes, I don't know yet. No use in moving if the dog doesn't see it.
Are you looking for full attention? Because this is where I'm getting confused. The dog's checking in with her when she's in neutral. As soon as it looks at her, shouldn't she move forward or no, you're with
Yes.
full attention?
Yes. That's about the timing. That is correct. Yes. So, yeah. Right there. There. Do you see it? That was the better timing. Right there. So I'm going to go back because this is exactly what you were just saying, which is, so she goes back to neutral position. The dog feels it, hears it, quick check in, what are you doing? And you're not doing anything. So then it goes back to its focus. See, right there. That means nothing to the dog. So holding that position doesn't make any sense. So there, did you see it? It's like, okay, do you mean it? What's going on over there? No, I'm still concerned about this. Car going by. There's something over there I see moving on the other side of the sidewalk. People. Yeah. So that's what the dog's focused on. Little half step with the back leg. That's a positioning thing. There you go. That was it. See. Oh. Still stuck on all that stuff going by. So at this point, the dog is making the decisions. I'm concerned about all this stuff that you've shown me you're concerned about. Okay. Okay. Good video.
Really good. I have to ask a quick question. So when the dog goes out with you and they're sniffing, what's your belief system around that? If they're like sniffing things around, I thought it was okay. And other trainers say no. So I'm curious.
Now, in an exercise like this, where we're isolated, it's obvious we're doing something together, and performance, the dog wasn't sniffing. What it was doing is showing its confusion by the nose going to the ground. It's saying, I don't know, I've got to pick up more information.
Yeah, that I understand.
Okay.
But so this is an isolated, but a normal walk, them sniffing stuff, you're okay if the intention is all there.
If my intent is we're moving and we're traveling together and you start sniffing, I'm going to continue traveling.
Thank you.
We're not stopping. If my intent is to allow exploration, hunting, all the other things, and you sniff, I'll go over and check out that spot with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this one is the hand motion. That's good. Nice, nice. Oh, okay. So right there, that was a perfect opportunity to intentfully and immediately, as soon as the step, it was you get up, boom, we're going. Emphatic. Okay. So the difference is the emphasis on things. If you will work these things again with that dog and you're emphatic about yes, boom. Okay. It's instead of someone floundering around, sometimes it's not, excuse me. Sometimes, as in course 2, it's necessary to flounder around for a few days because you got to get past yourself. Other times it's going to be an immediate yes, no situation. With something like this, we don't want to flounder. We're trying to communicate with a specific thing, which is, here's what my hand means. Let's do this. That emphaticness, that emphasis on that, then instantly changes your behavior to go, boom, we're doing this. Okay. I hope that helps everybody. Nice, pretty. Oh, and then you stopped. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So dog was beginning to trust and understand right there. And then you stopped and kind of leaned toward the dog, and it goes, I thought
So that's
I
because I'd
understood this
stop
now.
my forward movement with my feet.
Right.
Is
Now
what you
watch,
mean?
what, yeah, but also watch your body position right here as you turn over. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like you were trying to get a tactical advantage. That's the way that dog saw it. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so I came in and checked it. It's like, oh, it's okay, buddy. Okay, so that's the check-in. That's not excitement. That's like, are we okay?
Yeah.
And you're going, yeah, sorry. So that's okay when we make mistakes. You go, yeah, sorry. Now look, see, it's like, yeah, I don't trust that.
Yeah, he doesn't trust me.
Yeah. At that point, it's like, yeah, I don't know what you mean now. First time. So here's a perfect example of one time is an incident. Second time, yeah, it could be a mistake. Second time was a mistake. The third time, it's like, no way. Because now it's got A and B to compare against. A was okay. B was absolutely terrible. So which do I pick? Okay. This goes in depth in a lot of things, guys. That's why I love watching these videos. Yes. So look at the time that dog is looking at your face. It wasn't adoring. It was like, I don't know about this. Is this okay? Watch. So you're still looking at the dog's looking at you, and then it goes, okay, it must be okay. That must be what you mean. And then you go, oh boy, do you see it now?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So it's miscommunication. That's what I'm trying to teach you guys, is the communication that you're giving to the dog, because this is the communication, not your monkey chatter. All those words that we say that mean things to each other don't mean a thing to a dog. Okay. That's why I'm saying, if you want to learn how to talk to a dog, shut your mouth.
Which is fascinating because every other trainer teaches to communicate with the dog verbally the whole time.
Monkey chatter. I know. You know why? Because they're trying to teach a dog English.
Yep.
Or Dutch or German or Swahili or whatever the heck. Okay. Why do you want to teach an animal a language it can't possibly understand? You know, dogs are capable of discerning about 550 that we've seen so far, different sounds and tonal values from us. But it doesn't mean they understand the word. They just associate something with that sound. That's all they're doing. They don't understand your sentences. They don't understand sentence structure or language in our way. Okay? It's a waste of time. You teach them in their language, which is what this is. Truly, your body position, movement, posture, intent, distance, speed, that's their language. So you teach them that way, and you layer on top. Then once you get this agreement and this behavior, then you layer on top a verbal, one sound. That's it. That's how you teach a verbal aspect. Okay, you gain the trust first. Trust me, dog's going to do anything you ask of it if you have its trust, and you're a partner with it, not a domineering asshole. Sorry, there's too many of those out there. Okay. Yeah, and your laughter was kind of
Not
an
helpful.
apology, kind of no, it was actually perfect, because it's like, okay. Yeah, it was a reset. It's like, yeah, I made a mistake. Sorry. The dog's going, yeah, I understand. Okay, we still
Okay.
not communicating. That was okay. It was a reset for both of you. And the dog, once that connection, as you saw, after it got spooked, is like, are we okay? I'm showing you I'm not a threat. That's what the dog's saying initially, to come up to you, check in with you, and then kind of jump up at you and all that stuff. Okay. In this case, there was not play aspect. There's not, matter of fact, I want you guys to see this. There is nothing in that action that is play-like. See the check-in, like, are we okay? And then the uncertainty when he backed up, when you leaned and put the hand down. Did you see it? Just for that split second. Come up, are we okay? Look, see the back up, and then, oh, okay, we're okay. Okay, yeah, okay. See, I'm trying to influence you. I'm showing you I'm not a threat. Is everything okay? Look at the check-in in that. Okay. All right. And he goes,
Now, in that moment when she looked up at me and I looked away, should I have looked at her again to let her know that it was okay?
Yes, reconnection. And then your intent goes, check in, boom, let's go.
And then back. Okay.
Instantly. And that's, excuse me, that's the emphatic nature of what I mean. It's like click, click, click. Okay. If there's stuff between, you lose those connections. If you look, you go, let's go, boom, it's clear. And that's what you're trying to do. Contrast is clarity. Write that down, everybody, please. Contrast is clarity. The crisper and more contrasting that you are, not harsh, the more clear it is, it becomes to the dog. Okay. That's why I have learned over the years in teaching people. I've been teaching for 40 years, guys, in some subject, whatever, architecture, race driving, martial arts, other stuff I can't mention, all sorts of things. Okay, dogs, etc. So I've learned how to communicate. With humans, it takes a number of ways and different words to reach people in different ways. I may go over the same thing unaware from those people, but say it in a different way to try to reach people differently, because words have meaning and intent, and we take these opportunities to do these things. So that's where it was like, not sure. Are you okay? You sure? Yeah. Okay, good. And look, do you see how he moved way away from you in case you went back up again?
Yeah.
That was his test. Like, is this okay? Is that what you want? Yes. Okay. So now there you go. He's a little more compliant. Yeah, you're leaning over his pathway. See it?
Okay.
You're asking him to go underneath you, and he is not going to do that. That's why he's turning his head away. It's not that he's feigning disinterest. He's going, I'm not doing that. This is his, I'm uncomfortable with that. I can't do that message back to you. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much in these communications. So he's going, I don't want to go under you. Look, he's going, no, I can't do that. I don't trust
So
that.
I should be more upright and
turn and face the direction you want to go with that hand.
as opposed to leaning and looking at him.
Once he started coming with you, it's like, okay, we're going. Emphatic, boom. Those steps that he moved forward with you. Okay, so he's going, okay, where are we going? There, right there.
Right there.
Should've gone.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then he's going, okay, no, I don't see, no, I'm not going to go there. He's still saying, no, I can't do that.
Well, and now that I see it, I'm like, I'm being a big weirdo, you know? It's like,
yeah.
it looks so unnatural.
Yeah, so watch this. So you keep trying, and then you kind of turn, reset. He's going, look at him looking up at you there. It's like, I want to trust you, but I just can't yet because we haven't established the 3 in a row that were good as a pattern. Yep. He's gone, okay, I've given up on this. Yeah, no.
We'll try again.
We're not doing this. Yeah. Well, look at his language, though. Look at what he is telling you, less
Yeah.
about yourself. Yeah. No interest. Did you ever get him back on this?
I think I did, but it took a little while.
Okay. Well, you can see why now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had 3 different
would walk with me.
experiences. Yeah. So we're literally using our body to communicate. That's what we're doing, and that's what they do. That's what they try to do to us. They try to communicate to us and with us in the way they're telling us things. They're not being difficult. They're not being jerks. They're not being stupid. They're saying, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. We don't get this. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kel.
And I gotta say that, like, because I've done the RBBM and I've done course 2, but seeing, because I'm a visual learner, watching the videos like this and having them down to seconds really changes the way I see everything.
Yes, that is what has excited me more about this online course than anything else. Plus the amount of time that we actually get in class to study things. Rather than doing the exercises, having to explain them and all that stuff in that 24-hour period, you're actually doing those on your own outside of the 24-hour period. We get to discuss things. So plus we don't have to worry about breaking for lunch and all the other stuff that happens, all the time waste stuff that happens. Okay, Stacy, here we are. So I'm going to stop this. So how did things go? You said you kind of explained a little bit.
Yeah, so a couple of things. So Steve did really good. I actually thought that usually we are going to day camp at this time of the day if that's what we're doing. So I thought he was going to be a lot more like a little more resistive to me. And so he wasn't in this first one. So the second one, I put a ton of distractions out there just to see what I could get from him. But you critique what I've got here. I mean, I'm really interested in hearing your input.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to do less and less and less each one of these videos because we covered a lot with Kel, and that's usually what happens. Whoever's first gets the brunt of it. Sorry. It's the opportunity to point things out. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, some of this stuff is pretty advanced, so please don't think there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on, and some of the stuff I'm mentioning I don't expect people to get for actually a couple of years or more. So don't put that doubt on yourself. Work these things. Okay. People watch me work with a dog, and I say, you're not going to see anything because the communication's between me and the dog, and you're not understanding it yet. It looks so natural because it is, because it's their language. That's where I got the idea for the Institute back in, what was it, 2011, 11 years ago, when at the IACP conference in Hutto, Texas. I think there were all of 80 of us back then. And Martin Deely did one of the lecture sessions, and it was an outdoor activity thing. Actually, he did a couple of them, but the one that I was standing there watching him working with other people's dogs, other trainers' dogs, to have them do something they'd never done before. And he'd just kind of wave to the dog and go, go down here and do this. And the dog would go do it. And it didn't know him, nothing. The dog would happily do it. And everybody was amazed. And I'm looking at Martin going, yeah, now how do we teach people this? Because Martin was one of the most natural guys, one of the best gun dog trainers in the world. He was a legend before he ever moved to the United States. He was a legend over in the UK 30 years before he moved, and, you know, well, 30 couple of some odd years ago. He was well known in the UK back then as a gun dog trainer. And he had a love of the animals and an understanding. And this is what I got the idea for the Institute from watching him working other people's dogs and going, this is what people need to know. Not sit, stay down, place, here's this tool and here's this technique. That's not what they need to know. If they reach these dogs, that's where my saying came from. I'd rather you reach a dog than teach a dog, because if you can reach a dog in this depth, they will do anything you ask of them. And they will learn those patterns easily then, because they feel safe, which is how you learn. You don't learn in stress. You don't learn in stress. Write that down. You learn in safety, comfort, and feeling good. So it puts the dog at ease. The dog understands that you're communicating to them in ways they already understand. They don't have to learn a new language. Got it? Mm-hmm. That's what this whole system was developed about, and what I teach. Okay. So, all right. That's why. Because it's so much nicer too. And I don't mean nice from a, bad versus nice. It's just pleasant. It's pleasant for the dogs. It's pleasant for us. No need for all the harshness. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay. Should have been horizontal. We can't see much.
No, I come in and out. I come in and out.
Okay. So this dog focuses on you a lot, is already taught to kind of follow your lead, which is okay. Nice. Good connection. Very good connection. Okay.
So what I think the difference, so my insight into this is that usually when we're going out at this time of the day, we're going out because we're taking him to day camp. So his energy level is different, and it's the intent. Yes. My intent is we're going to day camp, and this time the intent is we're walking together. You and I are going to walk together. And the difference, that's why I kind of increased it a little bit more with the distractions, because I was like, I want to play around with this intent, because I have not been as good about being intentful when I'm walking with him.
Okay, good. Well, he has a heightened level of focus in this. That's what I'm saying. It's not just the connection, it's a heightened level of focus of, what are we doing? Okay, you're going over here, you're going over here. So his expectation is something is happening, something's going to happen. So it's the anticipation of the future more than what's the activity is in that moment. So take it to a different timing in the day sometime and experiment with it, rather than put more distractors.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. No, that's a good lesson right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There we go. Okay, so this is the second one.
And now I have customers, I have dogs in both yards. So we're seeing a lot of distraction happening. Yeah. And so here I stop, because we do have a distraction, and he has been reactive in the past. So I wanted to look that way, show him like, I get it, but I'm not dealing with that right now. This isn't my, but he still sits there for a while.
Yeah.
He's like,
okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, so partly what I'm seeing, what I'm saying here is this must be the drive-in this way, right?
Yep, and that's where that's where my dogs are too. So now I've let his brothers out to bark a little bit too.
Okay, so he's focused on that. You turned and looked at the car coming in. So the way he sees this is, I'm checking this out, you're checking that out. There's no reason to move.
Gotcha.
We're looking out for each other's back. So the intent wasn't to walk, move with you or anything else. Okay.
Gotcha.
That's why I'm saying change the timing rather than the distractors.
Okay.
That'll help.
Yeah, that'll be much more help. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something to learn always in every one of these situations. So he checks it out long enough, nothing's going to happen. You're not moving my way. Okay, we'll move your way. Let's go check this out. So
Would that-
look at that high tail also the entire time. Very confident. I've got this. Go ahead.
Would that transition would have been smoother if she kind of acknowledged where he was looking and then went back to the direction that she wanted
Yeah,
him to
it's
move?
kind of hard to do in this particular exercise. That's what you would do naturally and normally. It's like, yeah, I'm not interested in this. Let's go. And then the dog would follow you there. But that hard stop and start, it's difficult to do that here. I would say change the timing, even certainly the lower distraction level so the dog's more connected with you. Change the timing so that there's not a future expectation of something going on.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, and so you went toward what you were concerned about, and look where he's focused on what you were concerned about. That's what he sees in his mind.
Yep.
That's
And so
why
he's
that-
residually
yeah,
watching that. We're just watching
Yeah.
each other's back. That's how he sees it.
Yeah,
You're watching.
yeah, yep. So it starts to move away, and he goes, "Okay, the threat's going away." Then he joins you.
Got it.
Good video. This is great. This is real dog behavior and how you focus on how they think, guys. Okay, so these are great opportunities. Love this stuff. I get pumped about these videos. Sorry.
Now he's wondering why the fluff I'm being so exaggerated about what we're doing. He's like, what are you, why are we doing hand gestures now?
But nice check-in right there. Look at that. He's like, okay, I'm focused on the hand now. Okay. Good. Okay, now I'm gonna stop here, not because there's anything wrong, but just aimlessly walking back and forth doesn't make sense to a dog, and they start checking out on you, even though you're communicating well. So what I would do is I would go here, have the intent of not just walking back and forth for the camera. That's what I mean in playing to the camera. Yeah, that's something I never do. I never play to a camera. It doesn't exist for me. If somebody else is videoing me, I have no idea because I am focused 100% on the dog. My intent for what we're doing together, that's the focus. Okay. So this is good. This is good right here.
Well, and I need to know how to video better because I'm doing it because every time I video, I video everything I'm supposed to be doing outside of the camera. So I've got to get better at video taping because
horizontally, landscape first. That's the way, that way you see wider.
Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, it's a nice blue sky with clouds up there, but
but that happens even when it's horizontal for me, knowing where do I get out of the picture. So
yeah. So see that cone, you know, having been a professional photographer years ago, I had my own lab and stuff. I did architectural photography as I was an architect and working for other people many, many years ago. And so knowing the angle of that lens and placing yourself distance wise so that whatever activity you do in that distance, that's important. Okay. Which is probably why my daughter became a professional photographer, because she saw me in the lab and all that stuff. So there was always Nikons and you know, Graflexes and all sorts of stuff hanging around. So she just picked it up. Okay, so he's willing. Yeah. Okay. He's definitely, he is a more trained dog, I'll put it that way, than the other ones we've just seen.
Yes.
And that's obvious that he's willing to focus on and with you, but it's more of anticipatory thing than a partnership thing in this case.
Got
See
it.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I hope that helps.
That does.
Okay. Because anything I say is to help, guys. It's not to hurt you, embarrass you, or anything else. If it does, well, suck it up, crybaby. Okay. Nina.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a dog with a nice connection. Okay. All right. So this is your second one, right? So the first step. Okay. Okay. So you need to slow it down a bit. Okay. Now, okay. So I'm going to stop it right there. So this is what I don't want you doing is pulling the leash right there. See, full tension. You started moving. That indicated the dog, come with me.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to use the leash because they're so used to us just yanking them around and they go, okay. Then they don't have to pay attention to you. And they don't because you're not good with your body language in the first place. Okay. Because we miscommunicate everything, as you guys are saying. We miscommunicate, we screw up timing, all of these things as humans we're unaware of. And that's why I try to focus on getting people to not use the leash at all, because it makes you focus on learning how to communicate to them in the way that they inherently understand, and you don't need to use a leash. That's what off-leash dog really should mean, not I've trained you to be, glaring at me 1 foot away from my left leg. That's a perfectly trained off-leash dog. No, that's a tool. And that's fine for sport and all these other things. That is not what the general public wants, needs, and it's not how I want my dogs. I want them going with me naturally because they wish to. And they do. That's why I train my dogs. If I want them to come to me, easy. Snap of a finger, a cluck, or whatever, and they're right there. So, okay. There we go. That's good. That's good. Nice change of direction. Okay. Now. Okay, so let me go back here just a little bit. Okay, so what are you saying now that we've talked about all this stuff? Right there. What are you saying?
What am I saying to her? I'm confusing her for one. That's why.
Okay. No, what are you seeing here with this? With that?
Oh, I
with
did a
that
hard
right?
turn
Yeah, and where's the dog's attention?
behind me.
Not on you at all.
Yeah.
And you start your motion toward the direction you want to go, right here. The
And she
dog
was with me.
Yeah, dog's out over there. Okay. And once again, the nose goes to the ground. Think about it in terms of the dog, guys. You are doing an exercise, you're moving. The dog knows you're moving, doesn't understand exercises, knows you're moving, and it's got to go with you because it's tied to you with a leash. And its nose goes to the ground. What do you think that's saying? I'm uninterested in this. I'm confused. I don't want to do this. You're not making any sense to me. There's something more interesting over here. So what it's telling you is there's no relationship right there. That's what it's saying when its nose goes to the ground at that point with this short of a time period. I'm not talking about long walks where some dog peed over here on this post or whatever else, and their interest goes over there. Okay. So that motion, that movement, still the dog's focused over there. And then it gets to the end of the leash, then it moves towards you. So it didn't focus on you until it got to the end of the leash and popped it. So the leash is telling the dog what to do, not you. So it focuses on the leash. And that's what I'm talking about. Most dogs rely on a leash more than the humans do. Okay. Okay, that's good. Oop. Okay. So your timing, your emphasis, your emphaticness is good. Your timing is bad because the dog turned away the second you, right there, look, you went boom. Okay. So be aware of the dog before you make that emphatic move. Okay. That's my advice there. And then immediately comes back. That's good. Good timing, because what happened there? Still in peripheral vision as you turned right there. That was good. Dog. And look where the dog's focus, it was doing this, it slowed down, it started to turn because it saw you turn. That was good timing in directional change. Okay. Nice. Good check-in. It was like, okay, what are we doing? And that's so this is right here. This right here is great, because now watch what happens. That check-in there, do you see it?
Yes.
That look up is like, okay, I'm connected to you. I'm not really certain, but is this what we're doing? Right there. Beautiful. Okay. That is a good teaching moment. And you didn't look back at the dog to check in with it. You just went. Okay. So that was good. That was good. Okay. Nice. Same thing. Oop, nope, 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 nope. See how you're pulling on the leash? Yeah, nah, cheated. Can't pull on the leash. Cheated there. Clomp, made a sound. That's cheating. No sound. You could hear the boot hit the pavement. Okay, so don't cheat on that. It's not about getting it perfect. It's about learning from it. Okay, pulled. Dog says, I'm focused over here. Okay, outweight the dog. Human can always outweight the dog. Their timeline and our timeline are different. Okay, get the focus back. That's respect. This is disrespect.
Okay.
I want you to understand. I want all of you guys to understand that. Disrespect is saying, I don't care what you're focused on. I don't care that you're not connected with me. I'm going to force you to reconnect. And what if that dog was 300 pounds? It'd go, yeah, right. Let me drag you over here.
Yeah.
So that is not the way we win the argument.
Okay.
Okay. Because I've dealt with 300-pound wolf dog, and you either connect or you don't. She was overweight, by the way. The male was 200 pounds. She was 300 pounds. She needed to lose about 100 pounds.
Holy cow.
And the male was just a big puppy, man. I squatted down. They brought him out of the car. It was funny. I had actually here at my house, he brought his wolf dogs down from Oklahoma, and there were 5 or 6 other people here to see them. They'd never seen them. And they were dog people too. I mean, for years. And he takes them out of the back seat, which they took up the whole back seat, of course. And he's like 50 feet down the street, and they start walking up. I'm just focused on them. I squat down. The big guy, the male comes up to me, and I'm going, "Hey, buddy!" And he's got his tongue hanging out, just happy. He flops on the ground, puts his belly up. I'm scratching his belly. The female was kind of over here, like, "Yeah, I don't know yet." And I patted him, and then I looked around. All 5 of those people were up the street, about 3 neighbors up the street. I said, "What? He's just a big puppy." And they're going, "Yeah." So it was pretty funny. At least it was for me. So yeah, when people deal with 100, 150-pound dogs, I'm going, yeah, so what? It's not, they're big, but they're not 200, 250-pound wolves or wolf dogs, which are actually bigger in some cases because they're bred to be bigger than wolves and ovcharkas and stuff like that. So anyway, good connection. Okay. So I want you to see this. How far did the dog go before he stopped? He knew you were stopping. Did you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so how far did he go?
All the way to the end.
Till the leash said stop instead of you. Plunk right there. Okay. That's the disconnect. That's the disconnect. Okay. Right there. Uncertain. Leash shouldn't tell them anything. There. Okay. Okay. That was a good series right there because it shows you, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Leash shouldn't tell him. Well, the leash sort of told him something right there. Did you see it?
Yeah.
It tensed up. It said, no, we're not going that direction. That's why he went. Okay, I don't know. And you see where the nose went to the ground right before he joined you. So watch. Leash under tension, pulls him back this way, goes, okay, what are we doing? And then he goes, okay, I'll join you. I hope you saw that,
Yeah, I
that
did.
sequence. So here, leash tension, and he goes, okay, that's telling me no, not over there. And then he goes, okay, then what do I do? So the nose goes to the ground, and then you took the step, and he goes, okay, this is what we're doing. Beautiful sequence to see that, though. See right there. He's going, okay, now what? Okay. So timing is everything, guys. Pull the leash. And that's a human habit. It's not just you. There. That was cheating. There was a lot of sound and a lot of pulling right there. Okay. I know you see it. I'm not trying to make
It's
you
okay.
feel bad.
I'm not. I don't feel bad.
There you go. So slow it down just a little bit between transitions. That's all I would say, and allow. So right here, watch the leash. Honk right there. That's when he turned. You see it?
Yeah.
That's what's great about these videos is we can stop it on a dime here and watch. When the leash goes slightly tense or almost straight, watch. That's when he turns his focus right there. See it?
Yes.
That was better. That was nice. And that was a good pause. Okay. Did you see the timing on that? A little bit of a pause allowed him to join you brain wise, and then that. Okay. He's getting better at focusing on you. That's pulling him. Did you see where his focus was?
Yeah. Down the street.
Yeah. Okay. So just allow a little pause. So the communication is in the pause. It's not in the directive. Okay. Communication is I signal, you recognize it, you give me an answer. That's the communication, not I'm signaling you and you're going with me now. That's not a communication. That's a demand.
Yes.
Okay. This is good. Everybody's video
Can
is
Can you repeat that?
The communication is in the pause.
Yes, I have that. And then
P-A-U-S-E, not P-A-W-S. In the pause of time, and communication can be for that dog a half a second, a quarter second, an eighth of a second, or because of the confusion and the uncertainty in communication, it could take a couple of seconds of time. Okay.
yeah, it was more like signaling, and then what did you say? I mean, I'm signaling you.
So I'm signaling my intent to you. That's like us speaking words to each other. I say something, there's a pause. You have to process it. You have to elicit a response and then answer back.
Yeah.
If I disagree with you understanding what my intent was, I'm going to give you more information. I'm not going to repeat the same thing louder. Got it? But humans don't do that with dogs. They just say it louder and harder. The dog didn't understand it. Whose fault is that? It's yours for miscommunicating. So figure that dog out. That dog is different than the last one that you worked with. You know, I posted something a couple of days ago and I said, you know, the problem isn't The problem should be that, I don't know exactly how I worded it, but basically it was, you should be humbled by every single dog you ever work with, or you shouldn't be working with dogs, because none of them are the same. So it's all about communicating with that particular individual who sees things differently than the last one, just like humans. Okay. So the pause is the communication. The pause is, I signal my intent. Dog says, is this what you mean? You either agree with it or you disagree with it, and you give more detail. The disagreement isn't because they're trying to be a jerk. The disagreement is, I didn't communicate well enough to this particular dog as to my full intent and what we're doing. So I need to be clear. I signal again, the dog gives me another answer, and then I can agree with it or disagree with it. And so we get closer to the answer together. Okay. And as we work together, if you are respectful of this brain over here, this intelligent brain over here in the dog, and I make the effort to communicate, this brain is going to be much happier to work with me than somebody that just tells it what to do. That's this system, guys. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we saw this one. Okay, and then Rachel. Whoa, okay, big file.
I reduced it already.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is even going to load. I hope so. 65 megabytes. Yeah, it is. Okay. Whoa, what kind of dog is that?
Energizer Bunny. We have no clue what she really is. She's a mix.
It looks like a cross between a wild hog and a deer hound.
What we know is the mother was a setter. So that's what we know. But we don't know anything else.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if this
She's
is
a
gonna...
herding dog somehow. I mean, her behavior is
okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to let this load up a little bit.
No, I'm sorry. I will make them shorter then.
Yeah, there's a setting. I hope everybody understands there's a setting on the level of number of bits that you can send. Now there's the high, which is what you're recording. There's a medium, there's a low, and I think even the low is going to look good on computer here at this level. So
so you can do that in Telegram then, or I have no clue about
you can do it once you pull up the video. In other words, if I'm going to send the video to Telegram, pull up the video, I can go to the settings in that and then select a lower level of you know, all massive amount.
I will look into that.
Okay. Yeah.
I did try to compromise it with
look it up on YouTube. Everything's on YouTube. Good and bad. Okay. Looks like we've got about it's loaded probably 70 seconds worth. So let's go back. Okay, so here we go. Okay, dog ahead.
She's always ahead.
Yeah.
Because she's circling all the time. I mean, you.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like, okay, so using the leash, doesn't pay attention. Okay, keeps checking in with directionality, but again, with a herding dog, they make their own decisions once they are told what to do. Here's the herd, here's the location, here's what I want you to do. Dog's on its own to make all its own decisions. That's the difference in this type of brain and a herding dog. Okay, that's what they do. And so that's what's going on. It checks in like, what are we doing? Once you get to a stop point, checks in with you. It goes, what are we doing? we're going this way. Okay, I got it. I don't need you anymore.
Exactly.
That's what they do. He goes, checks in. Okay, we're doing this. See it?
Yeah.
That's why it's so important for you guys to understand the mentality of each type of breed that you're working with. If you do not have breed specific books and really understand them, well, let me see, one of the 15 or so that I've got over the years. I don't know if I can move this. See if I can get one of, whoa, oh, I got stuff in the way. I got all sorts of stuff in the way here. I got tables and, well, anyway, there are some good encyclopedias of breeds. Look at the descriptions if they're not just the typical AKC typical verbiage of, you know, this dog is intelligent and blah, 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 all of that stuff. If it gives you good character and understanding of the breed itself. And of course, now you can go on the internet and you can look up a specific breed and you can get lots of information, glean it out, but you really need to understand the brain of that dog, because that's what you're working with, the brain. Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to lecture. I'm excited. You see, I have passion about this. That's why I do it. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. So, okay. So let's see you come back in. There we go. Okay. So he's slowing down a little bit. Doesn't that? I got this now. What are we doing? Where are we going? Where are we going? What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. Yeah. Camera needs to be back a bit.
Cannot go back. It's on a wall.
Okay, so here's what I would do with this dog back here. Right at that point. Oops.
Yeah, sure.
Stop. Once you give direction to this dog, it's going to take it and run with it. So the way to communicate, hey, we may not be doing what you think all the time. So it's not just one clear communication and you take over for the next 5 hours. It's, I'm going to turn here, and the dog goes, whoa, I thought we were doing this. And now I got to pay attention to you, because the dog wants to work in tandem.
Mm-hmm.
That's what herding dogs do. Once you give them focus, they're going to go do it. So now let's change the focus in a dance back and forth. Let's do that. We are moving together. We're not going to go find a herd. Okay.
Yeah, I think my thought was also that you said that we should not change direction immediately. So
right.
That was in my mind.
Dog like this, I've got to get its mind with me first.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably do a lot more of this and then stop. And then the dog go, okay, now what are we doing? Now I've got his brain with me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Because if I didn't say anything about people changing directions constantly, you just confuse the dog. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to see these videos and the different dogs that you guys have. All right. So he's slowing down a little bit. He's going, okay, I guess to the end, it's like, okay, what? Okay. So now you've seen a pattern 3 times of going back and forth. So he's probably used to just doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, okay, and now we're going to stop out here. Oop. Okay, so using the leash, that's kind of using the leash a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he's hesitant to go to the end because he knows it's going to end down there.
Yeah.
You changed the location, which was good because now he's got to pay attention to you, but he didn't. He paid attention to the leash.
Yes.
Okay, see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She has also the tendency then to cross over in front of me, because she's so used to circle that it's, it happened quite often. I haven't
Yep.
worked with her for quite some time, but
Oh, look at
I
that.
was,
Look at that. That entire way
Yeah.
is looking at you like, okay, this is different. We haven't gone this direction. So now I got to pay attention. What are we doing? That's what I want you to do with this dog. Watch.
yeah, I will.
Right there. Look.
Yes,
Look.
yes,
That entire way. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where
More diverse.
contrast is clarity. Okay.
Yeah.
So the more I contrast with what the dog says, I got this, and you go, whoa, wait a minute. Okay, now I got to pay attention to the human. Good video. So you see all the things that we're able to go over with in supposedly the same exercise. Intent with the Energizer bunny. Yeah. It snowed between the two times, didn't it?
No, yeah, it was, this one was the first one on Tuesday, and the others two I took on Thursday when the snow was already melted. So
Okay. Oh my goodness, I just looked at my watch. Wow. Okay. I could go on for hours, guys. I know you can't. I'm sorry. You guys got timing and stuff. Does everybody have another 15 or 20 minutes? Please say if you do not. Okay, I'll try to keep it. Okay, I will try to keep it short. I
I'll
do
just watch
want
the
to.
recording.
I will do. So next time, I do want to finish up these because I want to critique for each person what's going on with them and their dog. Okay, so we will finish that up. In the meantime, you're still going to have more exercises to do before next week. So we will do that and this. I'm not going to take the hour of time to ask questions and conversations and all that stuff like we did this time. I needed that information. Okay, so we will just get right into those videos. All right, so let's let me finish up here with at least with Rachel's stuff, because I hope each one of these you guys are learning different things. I hope it's helping you in different ways. So okay, so here we go. So this is the step. Okay, and it nice. Look where he positioned himself. Okay, this is where you reset, and it's the motion or the movement of the step, the foot itself. Okay, so with a herding dog, what is this telling him? What do you think?
like we are watching to the herd, like where do we go
look
next?
at the pause and the stop. It's like, so what do herding dogs do? So they may go up and do this. They're waiting for a reaction, and then they do this. So that's what he's looking at you going, okay, what are we trying to herd?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Because I don't see anything out there. You see ghosts, lady?
sure I do.
There you go. Okay, there you go. It's like, okay, I'm sure about you, lady.
Can you enlarge the picture? I think you have to.
I'm sorry. Forgot about that. So he's more willing to go, but then again, he takes over. He's used to that with humans, of taking over once a decision's made. Okay, let's detail just that. Okay, so what was your intent there? Because you kept facing the same way, then you turned, he turns, and he's already coming that way. I would have stepped right there.
Yeah, okay. I see that now.
Yeah, instead you waited until he took over. You waited till he took over, and then you said, okay, I'll join you.
Exactly, yes.
Got it?
Yeah.
So he said, okay, I'm in charge. And that's not what we wanted out of that. There, that was good timing right there. Now, that was interesting. So he's, okay, so let me go back just a second. Okay, I'm going to stop this because I've got this stuff in the way over on my screen. I'm going to move it to the other side so I can actually see what's going on here. Okay. All right, so right in this sequence, he turned, he goes that way, he stopped, he looks at you. It's like, so the curling around and that looking at you, that says a lot right there. It's like, okay, you got tangled up. Okay, that's what I was trying to see.
Yeah, because she always wants to circle myself too, so I tried to, whatever.
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so what? Why does the circling start happening? Think about the dog's brain.
Well, she's hurting me, doesn't
Okay,
she?
but why?
Maybe she has nothing else to do.
No, no.
Maybe she's unsure.
Because she sees confusion. And when they're unsure, they don't know what to do. When they see you're unsure or not communicating well, they want to give you direction and take over. That's when the circling starts.
Yes.
Okay. Big difference than the way humans think about it. All right. Why it's so important to understand the brain of this animal that we are working with, and each one. So the circling, the uncertainty, all of that stuff is because it sees you as uncertain, goes, okay, well, I'll take it here. Let me show you. See right there. It's like, no, we're not going that way. Okay. I want to show you. And the shake off there is that extra energy, that excitement. Okay. That's a great sequence right there to show the difference there. Okay, so it keeps giving you different opportunities, turning for you to move, and you're not moving. So now it's more confusing. So it goes into that herding aspect.
Okay.
That's what they're doing. See it? Lots of opportunity that agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean
yeah,
to
I think it's like my go-to with her to calm her down because so, but yeah.
But it's not, is it?
Yeah, it's not.
It's actually triggering. It's triggering the herding brain of I've got to take over and control.
Yeah.
This is fantastic, guys.
Glad I can help.
Well, no, I mean, so look how many dogs I get to work with their people, and it just happens to be trainers. This is great. It's funny, I'm working with as many dogs each year, at least, as I used to with my clients, just in a different way. So. Good. And we're off. And we're off and running. Okay, a little, that was not bad. Okay, so when you guys, there's more of a together aspect to walking across. Look where the position maintains. Doesn't go out to the end of the leash early.
Yeah.
So you're having a little bit of success in the conversation. But okay, so how would we do this transfer from one direction to another differently? I want you to tell me, how would you do this differently now from what you've seen than this? Because what did the dog rely on?
She is still relying on the leash, and I would probably turn out way faster than
well, she got to the end
ahead.
of the leash and it tensed up, and then she checked in and turned. So we're trying to not use the leash as much as we can possibly not use the leash. Even look at the direction of the head there.
Yeah.
Do you see
so
it?
here I could have turned.
Yeah. So the head's kind of curling this way back, like, is this still okay?
Mhm.
That's when I would have gone, let's go this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good, 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 good. Nice. Okay. And so the dog knows you're not going to go into the building and you're facing the building. So that's what the
Yeah.
confusion is there.
Okay.
Turn
Yes.
in the direction you want to go emphatically. Let's go this way rather than some intermittent thing of I'm uncertain. That's when the dog goes into its own brain and say, okay, I got to take over. Because
Yeah.
a dog is not a fast-minded dog, especially, which this one is. Fast-minded dog is going to not stay in uncertainty and confusion.
Okay.
It's going to either you take over or it takes over. That's
Yeah.
it. There's no downtime of who's in charge here. And that's the negotiation I talk about that humans do all the time. And that's where I say, when I say I don't negotiate with dogs, that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about force. It's not about I'm a big tough guy and you just got to follow me. That's not what that means at all. The no negotiation is I've got this, buddy, follow me. That's what it means. You can trust me to lead you 100% of the time because I'm going to be focused with you 100% of the time. I'm going to be aware of all the things that you're concerned about, that you see, that you react to, and guess what? I'm going to help and give you direction. That's what I mean by no negotiation. Okay, has nothing to do with being a big tough, whatever. That's just being a jerk. And frankly, a lot of trainers are jerks. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't be saying things like that. I see it an awful lot on social media. Anyway, so he's going, okay, well, do we go that way? Do we go this way? Or what are we doing? Okay, I'm confused. I don't like this. I disagree. I'm bored. Okay, all right, we're moving. Good. Okay. Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay. Nice. Oops. Okay, so again, timing of transitions. Sorry. Good, 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 good. Okay. All right. So I hope these things are helping you guys see what's in the dog's mind and how the dogs see your movement, motion, things like that. Every dog is slightly different because they have gotten here by doing X and being successful with it. And every dog has a different situation. So, and they're different personality, they're different sizes. Some of them are physical, some are mental, some are fast mentally, some are slow mentally in comparison. And, all of that factors in, and you got to find out who that dog is. That's why I try to teach, and I need to do more of it, that 20-second walk. The first 20 seconds you handle the dog, you ought to find out who that dog is. Okay. So, all right, we will stop there for this time. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I hope you guys have gotten some information and detail out of all of that. I hope this has helped in some way. We'll save questions and all that stuff till next time. And we, excuse me, and we will get to everybody's video. In the meantime, I'm going to give another exercise, 2 or 3, to you guys. And I will do that by tomorrow. And I'd like for you guys to work on those things. You're beginning to see the detail, the intent, and the purpose behind what those exercises are for. And so I want you to understand that what you're really focusing on is your own behavior influencing the dog. Now, at the same time, we're learning what a dog is. So you're having to learn 2 very difficult things at the same time. So I don't expect it. That's why it takes a long time, guys. Anything worth learning takes a long time. I hope, Karen, Tammy, Laura, Stacy, you guys, Rachel, certainly, you guys can Courtney and Anthea, both down there. I don't see their faces, but I see their, those guys can tell you whether this is worth the time or not. They've spent years going through classes, courses, and honing in on these types of things. And I bet you guys are still learning stuff, aren't you? Yeah. So Laura, so what have you seen out of this class? Just
So the difference between this and the actual in-person class, is that what you mean?
no, just anything you've taken out of it.
There's so much more detail
Yeah.
with this online class than this is my third time taking this class. And I've seen a lot more detail with this class than I have any other time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is I've honed this for a different purpose. This is to really get into the weeds and give a clue. I don't mean it that way. Give everybody a deeper understanding of the detail involved in working with dogs, period.
And you
Because
can
it
see
is
that with this, where when you're doing it in person, you're focused more on your own dog and you're not watching
Right.
other people and what they're doing. And I know a lot of people make comments about this being more visually helpful. And I agree.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Laura.
You're welcome.
Courtney, what are you taking out of this? What are you learning? More of the same?
Yeah, more of the same, in the sense that this is my second online one to sit in on. So the first one I sat in on, my mind was just blown on the detail that y'all were able to get into. I don't know how many times I've taken RBBM at this point. Like, we're up past 7. So I mean, I'm still getting little bits that are new. It's also reassuring that after all these years of studying, I'm like thinking on my interactions with dogs now, and they're way different than they used to be, and I actually see a big difference.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's why I'm on mute all the time.
That's okay. So, matter of fact, you're a perfect example. Who was it? She had to leave. Okay. So asked earlier about, e-collar, I think. Oh, Jill, was it you?
Yeah, that was me.
So Courtney is a prime example. I just sent her a client from Houston. Somebody contacted me who had a client up in Wisconsin, and they moved to Houston. They got a new dog, and I've tried to send them to her over in Austin. Well, you're not in Austin, but you're between Austin and Houston. And they specifically asked for e-collar training. Courtney knows definitely how to use e-collar in a number of ways, but yet her modifications of things based upon this system. Courtney, if you'd take 2 seconds to kind of address that.
Yeah. So I definitely start with the relationship. We don't touch an e-collar. The dog doesn't wear an e-collar at all at the beginning. It's about our relationship, our communication, getting those lines of communication open. And the e-collar it's just a force multiplier. It's just that extra little touch, and the dog's not off leash until it understands it, and it's a much more thorough system of teaching that I enjoy.
So an e-collar to me, used properly, is just a sensation that you can barely feel, but then learn that it's much like adding a verbal word into all of these behaviors that we've taught. So now the word is associated with this behavior, and that's where you get a quote unquote command, which in fact is just a communication. The e-collar is nothing but that. Okay.
Right.
And for those of you guys who don't know what an e-collar really does, I'll give you an example. So I went to a workshop for who I considered the best person in the world at the time, other than Martin Deely, my friend. with e-collars, which was Robin McFarland. And I went to her workshop along with just about all the other great trainers here in Dallas Fort Worth area at that time. That was years ago, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago, that we went. And one of the few workshops that I've ever been to that I did not disagree with anything. There wasn't a single word out of place or in timing in that entire 4 days. I agreed with everything she did and everything she said and how she used it. That's pretty rare. She uses it as a communicative device only, period. And that's what it should be used for. Barely feel that stimulation. Barely. It's like, did I feel something? That's what you really want to use. If you turn it up, you don't crank it up to light up the dog. If you turn it up, it's like, no, I really meant it. So that's just doing this, not this. But that's the way an e-collar should be used. When they volunteered me, Summer Milroy was volunteering me to put the e-collar in my hand so that they could show, the stimulation. I remember the dog that I was working with, which was a very dangerous German Shepherd. And of course, I got it. And I was able to literally do the same thing that I did with Tammy, put the leash over my finger and the dog just followed me, which that wasn't the purpose of it. Purpose was to have Robin control the e-collar and signal to the dog to turn and go with me. Well, she didn't get the chance because the dog just went with me. So she goes, okay, stop. So I stop, the dog sits, and here's this dog that was attacking people. And I put my fingers down on the dog's eye, he looked up at me, and he just kind of looked up at me, and I just kind of stroked his eye, and he goes, oh. And everybody was like this, pointing and everything else. It's like, yeah, nothing wrong with the dog. There's wrong approaches. And so his stimulation, he had worked with a couple of trainers right before me, just for, a minute, minute 15 or something like that, where she was using that stimulation point. Her lowest dialed in level was like an 8 on this. It was 0 to 127 was what this particular model, it was a Dogtra. And so I think 8 was where he first felt it. You can kind of see the, did I feel something? That's where you want to be. With me, once they put it on, and humans are less sensitive in the hand than the dog is even in the neck area. And so it took her cranking it up to 30 before I ever even felt it. And then of course, Summer goes, crank it up on him. And so she did. I taught law enforcement and others on stun guns and that sort of thing. So I've taken so much stuff on my body, it doesn't bother me. So she cranked it up to 127, and I'm just holding it there relaxed, and everybody goes, it's Nelson, type thing. I'm going, well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to feel that all day, but it was certainly uncomfortable. I'll put it that way, but I'm not going to react to it. It's no big deal. Different people have different sensitivities. They had put it on another guy, and at 80, he was signaling, I'm out. So I just want you to know where those stimulation values are. With humans, we're not going to feel it as much. Now, if you put it on your neck, yeah, you probably feel it, or your groin area, you're going to feel it. So yeah, I've never done that. Okay. If you're wondering in your mind, I have never done that. I know better. Okay. I'm not dumb. I may be stupid, but I'm not dumb. So, so that's about e-collar. So when you use this and you understand this, everything gets easier, softer, and you find you really don't need to do lots of other things. If people are requesting stuff, then you can show them as Courtney said, first by relationship, by respecting and understand who that dog is. Go ahead.
I just want to interject something real quick on this whole thing, and with e-collars is, so before I was into the relationship-based training, I was an e-collar trainer purely. And so when I got one of my dogs that I've had for a couple years now, she was very fearful. And I kind of told myself, like, she's always going to be on an e-collar. Like, that's going to be my safety net, so to speak. And as I learned more about the system, I mean, she was on an e-collar for quite a while so that I felt safe, you know, and stuff like that. I have been really amazed by how she's done without an e-collar on now. Even in moments where she sees something and she's afraid of it, I just say, hey, it's all right, come here. And she goes, oh, well, if you think it's all right, I'm going to come get by you and then you're going to handle it for me. And I can see that trust from her that I honestly never thought I'd have. Because when I met her, I thought she was too far gone and that we were never going to be able to truly trust her. But it's really blown me away. And we don't use an e-collar anymore, like ever. So it's cool.
There you go. A testimonial. Wasn't looking for it, but that was great. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to stop recording at this point. We are way over. I apologize, but no, I don't.